What's up everyone, welcome back to a brand new video. Today's scenario isn't even weird because it's something that almost happened in the series. If you remember from the ending of the 23rd World Tournament, which, let's be honest, I know a lot of people skipped it, but you're missing out. Anyways, at the end of that tournament, Kami did offer Goku the position of Guardian. Obviously he turned it down, but what if he didn't? What if Goku actually did become Kami? As in, the Guardian of Earth, because Kami's also a title, not just his name. And that's what we'll be exploring today. But with all that out of the way, let's begin discussing what might have happened if Goku became Earth's Guardian. Obviously, our story begins after the 23rd World Tournament. Kami offers Goku the position of Guardian, and he accepts it this time. He isn't really too fond of it, but he does think that it might be a good idea for him because he'll have the opportunity to train under gods, which Kami also tells him about too. He wants to make it as enticing as possible, but he knows it's going to be hard. It's also worth noting Goku's going to accept it reluctantly. He didn't want it in the first place, so here Kami's going to have to push Goku to do it. So, they make some arrangements. Kami tells Goku he can live his normal life, and Kami will help him transition into being Guardian. And it'll be over the course of a few years so Goku can get adjusted to it, and he can see why it's so great. Or rather, why he's such a good fit for it. And really, he kinda has to bribe Goku with training. He's already trained under Kami and knew that he grew really strong in that way, but there's other gods above him too apparently. So Kami's gonna have to try and pull some strings. But this really does excite Goku, learning that there's people even above Kami who he thought was the greatest teacher of all. Kami doesn't know the true extent of who's above him, but he at least can probably get some access to King Kai, which is a good start. Which also means Goku's gonna have a late start actually becoming Guardian because while Kami doesn't want him to watch over Earth, he did promise Goku this, so he's gonna let him do that first. And it's probably gonna take a while too because knowing Goku, he's gonna be training as much as he can up there. And as Kami thinks about it, it's not that big of a deal. What's a couple decades of Goku training if it means he's gonna keep Earth in good hands for centuries beyond that? Although as far as Kami knows, Goku's a human so he might not actually live that long. Most humans don't even live past a century in general. And that's kind of a concern for him because how is he gonna be Guardian of Earth if he's gonna die in like 80 years or so, probably even less. So they're gonna need to prolong his life some way. Definitely not through the Dragon Balls, but there are other methods. There's actually one perfect person out there that could help Goku extend his life even further. Goku honestly doesn't care too much about living that long either, but hey, if it's part of the role, he guesses he has to do it, and also, it's more years of training for him, so that might be fun. Maybe they could just do what Roshi does, and that's exactly what Kami was thinking. They make a visit to Kame House, and Roshi's surprised to see both of them here, especially after what they ask. So he tells them about the herb that he uses to actually extend his life even longer. He has to eat this periodically, but this keeps him from dying of old age, and it might even let them retain their current age. Goku's obviously up for the quest, especially because it's a fun little side project for him. And it's not too hard. He's able to get the herb for himself, and now with this, he's going to be able to prolong his life even further. As long as he eats this regularly, it's going to keep him youthful, and it's going to make it so that he won't age that quick. And he won't die from old age either. Although it's not just for him. It's going to be for Chi-Chi too, because with her as Goku's wife, she's going to be the goddess of Earth. She's also living up on the lookout. Honestly, she didn't really know what to think of this position, but hey, it's a job for Goku. Granted, it's not a paying one, but I mean, they're living as gods. That's at least some sort of success, and they're going to be living a happy life up here, so that's all that really matters to her. And she actually likes this idea too, because it means they're going to remain young forever. Kami even takes the herb for himself and tries to make it more potent somehow. He's not sure if he can, but he's going to work on it, because he needs Goku to be alive for as long as possible, obviously. They can't have a Guardian dying a few decades later. So, Earth has a new god and goddess in training. But they're going to be in training for a while because now Goku actually leaves to go meet King Kai. It's going to be a little bit weird for him because first of all he has to pass Snake Way, and that's going to take a while, especially since he can't really fly that well yet. He can, but it's going to be very draining to do. Kami actually does train him up a bit for a few months because this is a really rigorous task, and Goku doesn't realize the scale of it until he's actually there. But Goku equips himself with a Senzu Bean, and that should make the trip a bit easier because that'll keep him full for the entire time. Which is exactly why he trained a few months beforehand, because if he didn't do this, the trip would be a lot longer and one Senzu Bean wouldn't cut it. By this point with all his training, Goku's actually close to the level he was at in the Saiyan saga. This also might mean Gohan's born a bit later, but he still is gonna be born. It's just that Goku's been training so frequently that they don't really have the time to look after a kid. Although he is gonna be born pretty soon, like maybe a few months later than normal. Thankfully, Kami and Popo make for good nannies. And obviously Chi-Chi's there too. Also, Ox King joins them on the lookout as an honorary guest. It's a nice happy family up there, at least when Goku's around. Because at a certain point he actually does make it to King Kai's planet. And when he meets King Kai's actually a bit confused. He thought he had a human coming here, and Goku says, yeah, he is a human. Didn't he hear about this from Kami? Well, Kami told him that he's training a new Guardian, which he assumed would be human, but there's a Saiyan here now. Goku has no clue what he's talking about, and King Kai realizes, Goku doesn't know that he's a Saiyan, does he? So the first thing Goku does on this planet is hearing a lecture about how he's a Saiyan, with King Kai telling him about the Saiyans and how Goku might have gotten there in the first place. This is obviously a huge shocker because Goku didn't realize that he was an alien. Well, that probably explains a lot, especially with how strong he is. And according to King Kai, these Saiyans sound like very bad people, although they seem to be all gone by now, except for a few. He's one of the last survivors, and he's really different for a Saiyan. And this is the only Saiyan on Earth that they know of. But Goku tells King Kai he's expecting a kid soon. Does that mean his kid's gonna be part Saiyan? This kinda worries King Kai. Another Saiyan on Earth? This Goku guy seems nice, but he doesn't know about another one being born. Hopefully they're not innately evil like that. But it seems like with the right people raising them, the Saiyans can be good people, so hopefully that kid is the same. And this should be interesting. With Goku being a Saiyan, he's gonna be much more resilient than a normal human, which he especially needs for this training. But he does find it kinda ridiculous that they didn't know Goku was a Saiyan. That would be like Kami not knowing he's a Namekian. Wait, Kami's a what? King Kai could see they have a lot to learn. These Guardians know very little compared to him, so he's going to take Goku under his wing to make sure he's a good fit. Not only is he going to train him in terms of his physical and mental strength, but he's also going to teach him some things. Over this time frame, Gohan is eventually born, although it's really strange because he's being raised on the Lookout and his parents are both gods. And him being born on the Lookout is actually a really good thing because with Kami and Popo there, they actually act as tutors in a way. In terms of education, he's going to get a great education up here because Popo is actually very smart. This means both Goku and Chi-Chi get to have what they want. Gohan actually starts training up here a bit, but also he's getting the education that he needs. Actually a better education than he could have gotten on Earth. He has an incredibly exclusive and incredibly smart private tutor up here. They don't spend their entire time on the Lookout though, because Chi-Chi obviously realizes they need to be on the surface at some times. And Kami's truly starting to see what he's gotten into. Goku's not even really there that much, and Chi-Chi and Gohan, they leave the Lookout a bunch. He could tell Earth will still be in good hands with his new Guardian, but they seem to be taking this very lightly. And another reason they actually did start training Gohan is because Kami eventually did hear from King Kai about the fact that there's a couple aliens up here, including himself. Also, including Gohan. Which explains why he was born with a tail and why Goku was able to transform into an ape as a kid in the first place. Just in case, Kami removes Gohan's tail. As Goku continuously trains with King Kai, he learns of the higher gods too. King Kai's not the only one. He's actually one of 4 Kaio. He's the North Kai. But there's also a higher tier of gods above him too that he rarely even sees. This excites Goku even more because that means maybe he could find some higher gods one day and train with them too. He's already grown way more powerful with King Kai so far and has learned a bunch of different things beyond just strength. And Goku's way far beyond where he should be by now. Eventually we get to the point where the reunion at Kame House is supposed to happen. By now Goku's come back down to Earth a few times and he hasn't been with King Kai the entire time, but he has gone back and forth. Crossing Snake Way now isn't really as hard as it was before, especially because he could fly pretty well and he's way faster than before too. Before, a trip across Snake Way would have taken up to 2 weeks for him. It only takes him about an hour and he's getting faster every day, which means he can really go back and forth whenever he needs. But for now he is on Earth because he's gonna go meet his friends at Kame House. He hasn't really seen them in a while, besides Roshi who he briefly saw with Kami. Chi-Chi, Gohan, and Ox can go along too because they've been up on the Lookout a lot. It's nice to see more people down on the surface, especially because it's been so long. When they arrive, they're pretty surprised to see what Goku's been up to. Not only does he have a kid now, but apparently he's God. At one point Kami did even put him in a different type of gi, but Goku preferred his old turtle school one, so he's still wearing that same orange that he does. But there are times where he wears a white one that's more similar to what Kami has. He looks the exact same as before, but Krillin can immediately tell that his best friend is way different. In terms of personality, he's still the same person, but he's definitely learned a lot more and has grown a lot more too. They're honestly pretty impressed. Also, they learn about the fact that Goku's an alien, as well as Gohan probably. Which is perfect timing because around the same time, another alien actually lands on Earth, and it's Goku's brother Raditz. His encounter with Piccolo goes like normal, but then he eventually detects a really strong power at Kame House. Goku's suppressed right now, but still, even when suppressed, Raditz sees that there's a power level of 500 over there, which is absurd, but he's not getting the full picture. Raditz shows up at Kame House, and it's a lot more level-headed here because Goku already knows he's a Saiyan, but didn't realize he had a brother. And since Goku knows he has control of the situation, he tells Raditz they should take this off the island because it looks like it's about to go into a fight. And if they want to settle this, they're just going to have a battle somewhere else. Raditz doesn't even attempt to take Gohan either because he doesn't see a tail on him. And they make sure he doesn't find out about Goku's relationship to Chi-Chi or Gohan. Although Chi-Chi could even fend him off on her own. But Goku goes by himself for the time being, just to make sure no one else gets hurt. He doesn't know what this guy is capable of, and clearly he's a threat. Definitely not someone that Goku wants to join forces with. After all, he is Guardian of Earth, and this is an evil threat coming to Earth. Kami even communicates with Goku in his head. He needs to expel this evil from Earth. If Raditz truly is that big of a threat, don't hesitate to kill it. In terms of when and when not to kill people, Kami has been a lot more decisive in that regard. He even wanted Piccolo to die in the 23rd World Tournament, even if that meant that he was going to die too. Plus, with all these years of experience as a Guardian, he has the experience to know when he should make this decision. Goku's still not sure yet, but he'll keep that in mind. Raditz starts the battle with Goku, and he can't do anything against him. Raditz doesn't get this though. Goku's only at a power level of 500. He checks his scouter and his power's raised. It's actually up to like 3,000 now? That makes no sense. It was 500 before, he was sure of it. There's no way his younger brother's that much stronger than him. He should be weaker than Raditz. As the fight continues, Goku's just effortlessly blocking all of Raditz's attacks, parrying them and dodging them. Goku tells Raditz no matter what, he's not going to join him. He'll give him a chance to leave Earth, but just stop this. He's not going to win here. But Raditz has one final trump card. He generates a ball of energy in his hand, throwing it up in the sky. Goku has no clue of what's going on, but Raditz starts transforming, turning into a great ape. Goku honestly didn't really expect that. He didn't know there was a way for him to transform in the middle of the day. He already learned that he was the one who became a Great Ape and the one who killed Grandpa Gohan, and he knows how dangerous the Great Apes are. Which means that Raditz is probably really serious about this. He's here to kill Goku and possibly everyone around them. But Goku's not too concerned. Raditz even mentions that Goku's power's not that high. But Goku's holding a little bit more away, and he has the perfect way to counter this. While with King Kai, he's learned a ton of things, and it wasn't just gravity training that helped him. Raditz was at a power level of about 1500, so in Great Ape that would be 15,000. In base, we're going to say that Goku's about 20,000, and I feel like that's actually pretty conservative. And the reason for that is because he wasn't as focused on strength here, and he was also going back and forth between King Kai's planet and Kami's lookout. It's not like he was there constantly over these past few years. But also while he was there, he wasn't just doing pure training in terms of getting stronger, he was also learning different techniques too, including one that he's actually going to try out against Raditz here. Of course, with his base strength, he can't actually beat Raditz. But just as a test, he tries to go into Kaioken times 2, which he can do pretty effortlessly right now. He can even push up Kaioken to times 20, and at that point it's straining him, but he can go up to times 4 without any effort at all. If Raditz can't believe what's going on, Goku's beating him, and he doesn't even really use Kaioken that much, basically just to dogwalk Raditz. And Goku has learned by now that the tail is the key to them becoming Great Apes because that's why Kami took off his tail in the first place, and it's what King Kai told him too. So he aims for that, cutting off Raditz's tail, stopping him from causing any more damage. Raditz is on the ground defeated. Goku says he'll give him one more chance to leave here. He might be related by blood, but he's not Goku's brother. He wouldn't expect his brother to be such a cruel person. And out of anger, Raditz charges a blast in his hand, telling him this entire planet will go alongside them. He's not going to lose here just like that. He drives his hand into the ground, about to launch a blast right to the Earth's core. He doesn't know if this will even destroy the planet in general. It's probably a bluff. He doesn't have enough strength right now to do that. Really, only in Great Ape he could have done so. But before he can even do anything, Goku stops him, with Raditz saying he'll kill everyone here. All his friends on that island, even that kid, he'll go find them, kill them next. Maybe that will convince Kakarot to join them. And it's clear that nothing is going to make Raditz stop here. So, much to his disappointment, Goku ends up killing Raditz, especially with Kami telling him to do so. But before he dies, Raditz tells Goku that the other Saiyans will come to avenge him. There's 2 others out there, and they're far stronger than he is. They didn't actually hear the Dragon Balls here either, but they know that Kakarot actually seems pretty powerful. How did he beat Great Ape Raditz without transforming? That would mean his power might be just under Vegeta's level. It could be even higher, but Vegeta refuses to believe that. They don't know about his Kaioken, of course. But in base, it seems like he was able to beat Raditz, which definitely does interest them. The Saiyans leave for Earth, trying to see if they can convince Kakarot to join them. With his help, they'll be more than fine against Frieza. And now Goku sees that they have a year to train for the Saiyans, although he's not too concerned. But someone else arrives in the area where he fought Raditz. It's Piccolo. He's been watching this battle the entire time and didn't realize how strong Goku's grown. Ever since that alien showed up, things have been weird. Like, the fact that he saw him in the first place is weird, but he was listening at a Kame house and sees that Goku had a brother and Goku's an alien. He's just learning of this. He sensed Goku's key on the lookout before too, and he doesn't know what Goku's been up to, but he knows it involves Kami somehow. Piccolo would love to try to beat Goku here. Even his new special move probably couldn't have killed Goku. And Piccolo's more so curious if anything. Especially with these Saiyans coming, he wants to see what Goku's been up to, what the secret to his strength is. He realized that now he has no chance at beating Goku. And as much as it annoys him, it seems the only path that he has to getting more strength is to actually follow Goku's path. He has to swallow his pride for this, but if he ever wants to beat Goku one day, this is the only way. And Goku says that's fine. He actually wanted to get some other people together to train for the Saiyans too. Besides, what type of guardian is he if he's not helping his friends on Earth? Wait, guardian? What does he mean? Oh yeah, Goku has a lot to tell Piccolo about. He's missed out on a bunch of stuff. But he'll catch him up to speed during their training. Goku then flies off back to Kame House, with Piccolo launching off trying to keep up with Goku. Immediately following the battle with Raditz, everyone begins training on the lookout for the Saiyans. Now Goku alone might be enough to defeat them, but they don't know for sure. They could only be marginally stronger than Raditz. They could be multiple times stronger than him. And either way, it is better for his friends to grow stronger too. Plus, he wants to share the knowledge and training around with them. What's the fun in being so strong if his friends can't even keep up? Although they mostly train with King Kai on the lookout, and meanwhile Goku runs back off to King Kai's planet. Which means he's actually leaving Piccolo on the lookout alone with everyone else, which actually isn't that big of an issue because he's outmatched here by everyone that's helping. There's all the usual people there, plus Gohan and Chi-Chi actually training, with Chi-Chi actually being above where Piccolo is, so if he causes any issues, he won't be hard to stop. Besides, as Earth's goddess now, she thinks it's worthwhile to keep up with the others, especially since Goku's not going to be responsible and be around here that much. She's at least happy he has a job, but he isn't actually doing the job now. Plus, again, the job doesn't really pay too well. But Kami assures her this is all part of what he needs to do. It wasn't what he needed to do to become Guardian, but it probably is better if Goku does all of this. After the year of training, we definitely have some changes here. Let's discuss everybody's powers. Goku comes back with a huge power increase. He's at 50,000 now in base. Chi-Chi's at 5,000, with Piccolo also at 5,000. Gohan is surprisingly at 3,000, because his training goes better here. He has Kami to help him out, as well as Popo and all the humans, especially Chi-Chi. Him having such good tutors here from an educational standpoint is a good thing because it leaves more time for training, and it's something that Kami pushes for. Next is Krillin and Shinhan, both at 2500 for their power level, and not too far behind that is Yamcha at 2000. We'll say Chaozu is also marginally stronger at 1000, and Yajirobe would probably be around the same level. He wouldn't grow as much as everyone else. You'll get your what if one day, Yajirobe. But they feel like they're more than ready for the Saiyans, although they could already tell this is mostly going to be Goku doing his thing. When the Saiyans arrive, they see two of them, Vegeta and Nappa. Goku would like to face them alone as a good test, but some of the others step up wanting to fight, which is perfect because Nappa starts out by planting some Cybermen, and they're defeated really easily without Goku's involvement at all. But Goku does want to face the Saiyans, partially because it's a good test for his power, but also, it is his quarrel and he doesn't want them to get hurt from it. Clearly these guys are stronger than they expected. He'll have to have some of his friends come to King Kai's planet next time. They couldn't just jump right to that planet though because they need to ease themselves into it with Kami's training, and now that they have that it's good. But still, it might not be enough for these guys. But the Cybermen can't be the extent of their strength. He tells them not to mess around. They're some sort of planet invaders, aren't they? He expected a good fight and not them to just plant some henchmen. Nappa says he's fine with that and steps up to fight Goku next, giving some threats to Goku too. He'll be gracious enough to ask Goku one time, come along with them, and this planet will be left alone. Otherwise they're going to have to be a bit more persuasive, killing everyone here and laying waste to the planet. Goku's not going to take that threat lightly, especially as Guardian now. It's his duty to protect Earth. Although getting a read on this guy, he could tell his power's not that great. Nappa pulls out a scouter just to taunt Goku, but he looks horrified when the scouter gives him a reading. 20,000? That can't be right. And Goku says that thing isn't right. Raditz said the same thing too, and he says those scouters can't read their full power while it's locked away. So, in a way, that is wrong. It's too low. Nappa doesn't buy it. This scouter's gotta be broken. And there's no way it's even higher than that too. The two begin their battle, although it's not much of a battle. In case you didn't notice, Nappa's obviously way outmatched here. Goku makes the battle pretty quick and defeats Nappa. Just like with Raditz, he actually gives them a chance to leave. He already made an example of Nappa, and if the two of them want to get off this planet, they still have a chance. He doesn't have to kill them, especially now that they know they're completely outmatched. But much to his surprise, Vegeta then walks up to Nappa, with Goku thinking he's about to help his ally. But instead he simply throws Nappa up into the air, killing him. He has no use for a weakling like that anyways. And Goku can't believe how cruel he is, to think he'd do that to one of his own allies. And if that's how he treats the people fighting alongside him, imagine how he's going to treat them too. Vegeta is in a tough spot right now. As much as he hates to admit it, it seems Kakarot is above him. And 20k isn't the extent of his power, but Vegeta does have a final trump card. Just like with Raditz, he resorts to going Great Ape right away, not even trying to fight Goku in his base. This will definitely ensure that he achieves victory here. He watches Goku power up too, and as he starts transforming, he looks on his scouter, seeing a power of 50,000. This is perfect. Even with Goku's high power level, it won't matter. As a Great Ape, he's at 180,000. This battle was over before it even started. If only Nappa was smart enough to transform into a Great Ape, he might have stood a chance. But that oaf was never as good of a warrior as Vegeta is. And at first, Goku actually is a bit concerned. Honestly, he was thinking that he would have a fight with no effort, which isn't really his style. He wanted to actually have some sort of effort in it. But he tells everyone else to stand back. This is a problem, but not too big of an issue. He could handle it still. For one, he knows that if he cuts off Vegeta's tail, he'll de-transform, so that's good to know. But on top of that, Goku actually does have a way to fight him, using Kaioken. He activates it for the first time against Vegeta, and Vegeta's pretty surprised. Why is he glowing red? And what's happened to his power? Of course he can't sense Goku's ki, but he can clearly see an increase in speed. And he can feel the attacks that Goku's landing. Goku's using Kaioken times 4, and it's actually pretty easy for him, at least compared to the original story. There, if he used Kaioken times 4, it would completely wreck his body. But here he could use times 2 and times 3 pretty casually, and times 4 with a little bit of stress, but still it's usable. But this isn't his limit. At certain points he even buffs Kaioken. He mainly uses times 3 and times 4, but in very short bursts when he attacks, he goes up to times 10, which Vegeta can't handle at all. He makes pretty quick work of Vegeta, but just to be safe, he goes for Vegeta's tail to make sure he de-transforms. And while he did witness Vegeta's cruelty, he does give one last chance. Unlike Vegeta, he's not going to be so cruel and just kill this guy right on the spot. Just as he did with Raditz and Nappa, Goku gives him an opportunity to get out of here. He does see the great strength that Vegeta has locked away too. It would be fun to fight him again in the future, and Vegeta contemplates this for a second. They saw what happened with Raditz. He tried to destroy Earth in one last attempt, and that ended up killing him. He knows for a fact that Kakarot will kill him if he needs to. So Vegeta kinda has to swallow his pride here, and he has a really good idea too. He decides to leave, reluctantly retreating, leaving off in a space pod. But that's because he has a plan. He doesn't need to bring Kakarot to Frieza. What about the other way around? Kakarot's strength definitely might be enough to fight him. Maybe not at this exact moment, but he knows that in due time, Kakarot will be able to defeat Frieza. Clearly he's not going to join Vegeta, but instead, he could lead Frieza to Earth somehow in a few years. And it's a win-win for Vegeta. At worst, Kakarot dies, and that's no skin off Vegeta's back. He's not going to care about that. In the best case scenario, Kakarot's able to kill Frieza. Either way, Vegeta's happy. Of course, he would love to be the one to kill Frieza personally, but he knows that won't happen. And when he retreats, he doesn't have any plans of going to Namek because no one knows about Namek. Nobody actually heard of the Dragon Balls, and not even Frieza knows about them. They were never brought up in discussion, and no one ever died and needed to be revived. Vegeta and Nappa actually did go to Earth because they saw how strong Kakarot was, not because they wanted the Dragon Balls for themselves. So, he doesn't go to Namek either, and Namek remains safe for now. And following the encounter with Vegeta, Goku actually brings some of his friends to King Kai. Some aren't incredibly motivated to go, so they'll only be there for a bit, but others, they're going to stay there as long as they can. Piccolo, Krillin, and Ten are definitely the most motivated to go here. But Chi-Chi, Gohan, and Yamcha will also go too. And as for Chi-Chi and Gohan, they have their own training on the lookout anyway, so they're still fine. But they can use some time training in higher gravity, and also learning King Kai's techniques. But this kind of annoys King Kai a bit. He tells Goku this isn't a hotel, and Goku says he knows that. He just wants to make sure Earth has a bunch of strong warriors. He's Guardian after all, so he's the one who has to make sure they're in the right spot. He's just being proactive if anything. And King Kai knows he really just wants all his friends to be powerful, so Goku will have strong people to fight. But you know, this gives King Kai a good idea. Especially because he needs to get people off his planet. He actually thinks Goku needs to go somewhere else now. Now, a small part of this is because he has too many people on his planet, but it's mainly because he thinks Goku surpassed all of his training. King Kai's taught Goku everything that he can teach him, which is insane because King Kai is so knowledgeable about all this different stuff. Goku's learned all of King Kai's techniques, and training in the 10 times gravity is having diminishing returns now. That's why in his training for the Saiyan saga he didn't grow a huge amount. But perhaps he would like to meet other Kaio, and go to Otherworld and meet different warriors there. Kami will be impressed with that, right? This is going to help Goku in multiple ways. He can learn new techniques, grow stronger in ways he didn't imagine, and just as important, he's going to get more knowledge about the universe around him and all the gods around him too. And actually, Goku kind of loves this idea, so he's going to go off into Otherworld and learn a bunch of different things now. And with this we can enter a nice time skip. Let's say about a year passes. After this time, all those different people who have trained with King Kai have returned to Earth. They've grown a lot stronger, and each warrior has access to his different techniques. Of course, the three who stay there the entire time, Ten, Piccolo, and Krillin, they're going to have a better grasp on different things like Kaioken, and they'll probably be stronger. But the other three have different abilities as well, especially Chi-Chi and Gohan who continue their training on the lookout. And this is strange for Gohan because this is the first time in a scenario I think where I had Chi-Chi actually train him. It's like a joint effort between her, Kami, and Popo, but King Kai and Goku have obviously helped too. Although recently, Goku has been in Otherworld, so he hasn't really been with everybody else. That's because he's been training this entire time with different techniques and skills. Not only has he grown far more powerful, but he has so much more knowledge about different weird techniques, and he's not even done training yet. He wants to go back just to learn all the different things that the other warriors can teach him. And he tells Kami about all of this. Kami's pretty impressed by this. He could tell that Goku's definitely going to be an effective guardian. Like, he already thought that in the first place, but seeing this, it's really surpassing his expectations. But while he is strong and knowledgeable about different martial arts techniques and styles, and a bunch of different other aspects of fighting, he could tell that Goku still has a long way to go. There's more to being a guardian than just being powerful, and knowing a lot about the people around them. Kami himself still has to teach Goku some things. Also, one issue that came up in his mind that he didn't even think of before. When he's gone, Goku's not going to be able to make Dragon Balls. Now, it's fine if Earth doesn't have its own set of Dragon Balls, but he knows they'll probably want to have one, and Goku's going to have a bunch of questions about that too. So it's better for him to bring this up right away than when he's gone, because by that time, they won't have any answers. Now, as far as they know, making Dragon Balls is something that only Kami is able to do. Of course, they know Kami and Piccolo are Namekians now, but they don't know for sure if other Namekians are capable of doing this, and it doesn't even matter because Goku's going to be the one who's Guardian. So regardless of if other Namekians can do it, that's not the point. They need to make sure the Saiyan can do it. They have no clue where to really begin, and they might need King Kai's help on this. Honestly, Goku's not too concerned, because from what Kami's saying, he's just going to have to practice with magic. But Kami says it's a lot more complicated than just that. It's a whole different subset of power, which excites Goku to hear. But still, is it really going to take that long just to learn how to do that? There has to be an easier way, right? Wait, there's a really simple solution. Kami suggests that they just ask Shenron to grant Goku that ability. Now, Goku's not too sure about this. He doesn't want to just have his power handed to him because it doesn't feel earned. But this is a little bit different. Being able to create Dragon Balls isn't just something that's going to benefit him. It's for the planet. So, while it might not be a fulfilling way to do this, it's definitely the easiest and most logical way to do so. Plus, it's very fitting, having one Guardian use Shenron to transfer the powers of Shenron over to Goku. Or rather, the ability to make Shenron. They're not even sure if this is going to work, but there's only one way to find out. And besides that, even if this does work, Goku's still going to learn how to use magic. Now that he's been told about it, he definitely wants to learn more. They're able to get the Dragon Balls together, and Shenron is summoned. A simple wish is made. Grant Goku the ability to make and control Dragon Balls. Now, it's a strange wish for Shenron because it's basically affecting him and his creator, but since Kami is willing to do it, Shenron sees that he is able to perform the wish. And nothing changes. Goku doesn't even feel different. Shenron soon disappears, and the Dragon Balls launch into the sky. But strangely enough, they fall back down instead of just spreading out across the earth. They turn into stone, and once they hit the ground, they completely crumble into dust, with nothing left behind. Now this freaks Goku and Kami out at first because they have no clue what's going on. Did they just destroy the Dragon Balls in accident? Apparently Shenron's wish worked, but Goku doesn't know how to do this. But Kami could try to at least guide him. And with some help from Popo, they actually get the statue of Shenron too. It takes a bit for him to figure out how to do this, but after a few days, Goku's finally broke some ground. And right there in front of everyone on the lookout, he creates his first set of Dragon Balls. They launch up into the air and then spread around the Earth, and they're actually active right away, since they technically made a brand new Shenron. Of course, they're not going to use them right now, but this is incredible. They have another set of Dragon Balls, and once Kami's gone, Goku's going to be able to do that as well. But Goku really wants to see what else he could do with magic. He still does have a lot to learn. He's probably going to have to go back to Otherworld, mainly training with some of the other Kaio too, possibly even gods beyond that. He wonders how far up the chain truly goes, and the easiest way to find it out is actually to test it. And as Goku goes to Otherworld, there is another thing that he's wondering about. During his battle with Vegeta, he mentioned something that only Goku was able to hear. He wasn't even saying it to Goku, it seemed like he was just talking to himself. But Vegeta was wondering if Kakarot had become the Super Saiyan of Legend. Goku has no clue of what this is. The Super Saiyan of Legend. It sounds powerful. And it really does make him wonder. Is this another type of power that he can unlock? Is it a state of being? Is it just a rumor? He's not sure, but it has stuck with him this entire time. And he has been trying to pursue leads about it, but he doesn't know. And no one else seems to either. It just seems like some sort of legend. And Goku wonders where this will take him. Far away in space during this entire time, Vegeta's also been training himself. Frieza does wonder what happened with the other two Saiyans, but honestly, he doesn't really care. 2 of the Saiyans are dead, that's great. And it seems like it has nothing to do with him anyways. They probably just failed the mission and that leaves Vegeta as the only survivor. Of course, ever since then, Vegeta has been training rigorously, trying to surpass Kakarot in any way possible. He would love to just do that, but he knows it's going to take a lot of training. In worst case, if he can't train himself to become the strongest, he'll just start a battle between Frieza and Kakarot. It should be pretty easy to pull off after all. He just has to wait for the perfect opportunity, and he has to plant the seed in Frieza's mind somehow. But he does have to figure out a reason for Frieza to go there. And it's not like he could just say what happened there, because that'll throw Vegeta under the bus. Why was he hiding another Saiyan from Frieza? This is going to take some time to think about, but thankfully Vegeta has more than enough time. And while he's waiting, he could just train his mind and body. Even if Kakarot truly is the Super Saiyan, that's not going to matter soon enough, because Vegeta will become one too. Goku ends up meeting with the other Kaio more often. After hearing about him from the North Kai, aka King Kai, they were curious about seeing him. Of course, some have a rivalry with King Kai, but at the same time, taking one of his students and training him better, that could be a nice way to stick it to him. But on top of that, Goku's just good at making an impression on people. Also, this isn't really necessary for the job, but again, Kami allows it since it'll make Goku more effective, and it makes him like the role even more. He's mainly impressed at how fast Goku's moving. Training with King Kai's one thing, but now he's going around Otherworld beating other Kaio. And a ton of different warriors in Otherworld too. He's learning so many different things at once. Meanwhile, in the living world, Vegeta plans his next move. He has to direct Frieza to Earth somehow, but also not raise suspicion, because Frieza's probably going to wonder why he wants to go to Earth, and why Vegeta was there in the first place. He's sure that Frieza knows about it. But Frieza actually does directly ask Vegeta, once he's finally healed up. Of course he wants to know more. Thankfully, he never found out about the Dragon Balls, so he's not going to Namek, nor is he going to go to Earth for the Dragon Balls. But he wonders why Vegeta went to that planet in the first place, and why only one of them returned. Nappa and Raditz are seemingly dead. So Vegeta has to come up with something on the spot. He says they thought the planet had some sort of value, and seemingly it does. Actually, as far as Vegeta knows, the planet might be worthless, but this is a way to get Frieza interested in it. But he tells Frieza it has a surprisingly powerful population. They were able to wipe out Raditz and Nappa, and Vegeta was barely able to escape. He doesn't know how much Frieza knows about the battle, but it seems like he doesn't know too much. That, or Frieza's just playing dumb. Just to see what Vegeta has to say. And Vegeta's trying to get Frieza to go there. But Frieza doesn't seem to care as much. Alright, well, if Vegeta wants another shot at it, he'll let Vegeta go back on his own later on. And who knows, if it truly is valuable, then Frieza will look at it himself. He can't really verify if the planet is valuable or not. He gets some other people to look into it, and it does actually seem worthless. But for some reason, Vegeta's saying it's worth something. And you know, Frieza's not really too concerned about that. He's more so happy about the fact that some of the Saiyans died there. But if what Vegeta is saying is true, he wonders if that population will ever strike back. They're apparently powerful, and Vegeta instigated. At the moment, Frieza's not too interested, especially because he needs to listen to some scouter recordings. But he can at least try to send some scouts to Earth. So that's exactly what he does. A year passes. Goku's going back and forth between Earth and Otherworld. One really big thing of note this time, Goten's born much earlier. Right now this isn't going to amount to anything, but Goten's born way earlier on in the series than he should be. He's born in age 763 instead of age 767, so keep that in mind for later. But to the point where we skip to, Goku's not actually on Earth. Thankfully, Gohan and Chi-Chi are still on the lookout, and Gohan's actually starting to look over things. He thinks it's pretty cool how Kami could see pretty much everything up here. And he tries to do that too. But much to his surprise, he sees something really weird. He sees a spaceship land on the surface, and some alien-looking creatures step off of it, wearing armor very similar to what the Saiyans had on. He could sense their power too. They don't seem too powerful. So without hesitation, he jumps off the lookout and flies down, with Chi-Chi following after him, wondering where he's going. And then Kami sees exactly what Gohan saw too. He thinks it's strange how they're doing more as Guardians than Goku is, but he knows that Goku's going to come back stronger than anyone. Plus, it's good to see that Chi-Chi and Gohan are learning how to be Guardian too, because they kind of will have a similar job. And down on the surface, Chi-Chi and Gohan defeat the scouts easily, with Chi-Chi able to get some info out of them as to who they are. And right as they get that info out of them, a blast comes in from above. Piccolo is nearby, listening in, and he finishes off the scouts. This will send a clear message to Frieza. It seems like regardless, he's going to come to Earth. Now, they don't know how strong this guy is supposed to be, but then King Kai butts in, also watching from his planet. He tells them they probably shouldn't mess with Frieza, but it's already too late. The fact that the scouts came there and they figured out that Frieza is going to come there too, it seems like it's already set in motion. And Piccolo says it's worthwhile to send a message to him, a message showing that they're not going to play around. Kami says he'll contact Goku. He's not too sure if anyone on Earth is going to be able to defeat Frieza, but Goku might actually be able to. Now, he hasn't seen Goku in a bit. He doesn't know the extent of his power at the moment, but there's a chance, a very slight chance, that he could defeat Frieza. Maybe he's underestimating Goku, or maybe he's being as cautious as he needs to be. But King Kai is pretty concerned and hopes this goes well, but he has no clue yet. Goku is still out in Otherworld training with all these different warriors who have died, and he's meeting other gods too, including guardians of other planets. He thinks it's nice to network like this because, as far as he knows, Kami never really got to know any of the other gods. And this is really weird because this is a first for everyone. Not only Goku being this outgoing as a guardian, but Goku being guardian in general, a Saiyan from Earth, who's relatively young too. Like, there's all these other people who are probably hundreds of years old. And then Goku, who's still in his 20s. But besides all the other guardians and such, Goku's just as interested in meeting all the other powerful warriors here. Mainly because he could learn all the different techniques of other species, and he learns more about these strong people, which is really nice. There's so many different strong people here, stronger than anyone he's ever faced. He could fight them to his heart's content, and he doesn't have to worry because they're all good guys. They're in Otherworld for a reason. There's no threat in training or fighting with these people. And Goku's definitely making rounds. He's a big name in Otherworld. And as word spreads, it eventually makes it even farther up the chain. One of the highest tiers of gods hears about this too. The Supreme Kai of Universe 7, Shin. Apparently there's someone from the living world, a mortal, going around and growing very powerful. He's slated to become Guardian of Earth soon, and everyone seems to like him. A Saiyan becoming Guardian of Earth? Kibito laughs it off. Besides, what's a living mortal doing in Otherworld anyways? Why is he there? He shouldn't be running around like that. But Shin says it's okay. As far as he could see, this guy holds a lot of potential, and he's going to be a really effective Guardian if he's growing this strong. He's a really interesting case, especially with the fact that he's a Saiyan who's pure-hearted. That's definitely not something that Shin sees every day, and that's not even addressing the fact that he's going to become Kami. So Shin's going to keep a close eye on Earth, and especially Goku. And he could also see that it seems like Frieza's going to be heading to Earth soon too. Shin might have to intervene to help, but he will see how this mortal performs. Although, it might not be fair to call him a mortal anymore. He's on track to become a Kami after all. And who knows where he'll go after that. After the first scouts arrive on Earth, Frieza arrives a few months later. It's not high on his priority list, but he decides to check it out. Vegeta comes along too, mainly to watch. He knows he's not going to fight here, but he's happy. This is exactly what he wanted. Frieza and Kakarot will fight each other, and one will just kill the other. Worst case, Frieza ends up winning and Kakarot's dead. But he'll get to see the extent of Frieza's power. He'll know what he's working with. He would love to defeat Kakarot himself, but this is a win-win for Vegeta either way. If Frieza dies, great. If Kakarot dies, well, he at least gets to see more of what Frieza's capable of. And he'll get to study Kakarot as well. Vegeta will know what level he needs to grow to actually fight Frieza, and could probably copy some things off of Kakarot. But Vegeta needs to act surprised when he sees Kakarot, because otherwise, Frieza will have known that he's been hiding a Saiyan. Although weirdly enough, as they land, Frieza turns to Vegeta. He asks something very bluntly. Why was Vegeta hiding a Saiyan from him? What? What is he talking about? What, did Vegeta think he didn't know? They were watching the Scouters, and they have all the recordings from it too. Of course, the Scouters did get destroyed at some point during the battle, but Frieza's not stupid. Now, without hearing about the Dragon Balls, he wasn't too interested in what was going on Earth. So he didn't listen in at first, but now he knows exactly what went down. There is another Saiyan here. That's why they went here. They were trying to recruit that Saiyan. And it seems like he and Vegeta are enemies, so why would he even hide that Saiyan in the first place? There's only one reason for that. He definitely was going to use that Saiyan against Frieza, wasn't he? Now, he did have to look into this, and it was kind of on the back burner, so this is only pretty recently that he found out. Although he was hoping that Vegeta would just go back to Earth on his own, because he seemed really interested in it. Before he even knew about the other Saiyan being there, he was hoping that Vegeta would go back, try to take it over for himself, but end up dying in the process. Or even better, maybe he and the Saiyan would have just killed each other. But now, Frieza needs to get his hands dirty, and he figures out that Vegeta was trying to betray him. He kept Vegeta alive basically as a tool, but he has no use for Vegeta anymore. He's going to take matters into his own hands. As the troops unload from Frieza's ship, Frieza lifts a hand up, launching a death beam right through Vegeta. With no more words exchanged, he casually walks outside, ready to cause havoc. But he feels a hand touch his shoulder. What, is Vegeta still standing, even after that attack? He turns around, and he's immediately punched in the face, flying right through his ship too, crashing into the ground outside. Vegeta doesn't know if he's hallucinating or something because he's bleeding out and near death. but it's almost like Kakarot just appeared out of thin air. And then suddenly, Vegeta doesn't feel any pain. He looks down at his chest and the hole that was there, it's healed. Even his armor's been restored. Did Kakarot just heal him somehow? Goku chuckles a bit, saying that teleportation came in handy. It means he could basically arrive at the last moment and waste no time. But Vegeta demands to know what's going on, and Goku says he has the right to ask that question if anything. He knows that Vegeta was probably trying to lead Frieza here, wasn't he? But he'll explain later what's happening, and how he healed Vegeta too. And Vegeta wonders why Goku didn't just kill him on the spot. Well, Goku honestly should have just stopped Vegeta a while ago, especially because he was a threat to Earth. But Goku isn't worried about stopping him now. If he truly is a threat, Goku will deal with him later, but he does have some things to ask him first. Goku then vanishes out of the ship, teleporting right to where Frieza is. Appearing behind him and tapping on Frieza's shoulder, he angrily turns around trying to attack, and then sees another Saiyan standing there. He looks so oddly familiar, and not because it's the one that Vegeta fought. And Goku looks around at all the troops, and he's about to just wipe them out on his own, but he then sees some of his friends flying in. Chi-Chi, Gohan, Ten, Yamcha, Krillin, and even Piccolo. They all fly in ready to fight the Frieza force. They have been growing stronger in the meantime, especially because they knew Frieza would come eventually. But they're surprised to see Goku back. How did he get back here that quickly? Just like with Vegeta, he'll explain to them later. For now, he's gonna fight Frieza. A battle between him and Frieza starts. Frieza thinks it's a fluke that Goku attacked him. He just caught him off guard, that's all it was. But as he fights in his first form, he realizes it wasn't a fluke. Alright, he goes to his second form. Still, Goku's fighting him easily. Frieza has to go into his third form, and it's the same thing there. And surprisingly quickly, he's pushed into his final form. And when he's in his final form, it seems like the battle's even. Although, Goku's still fighting really casually too. It's not like he's trying hard to even the odds with Frieza. This is where the true battle begins, and Goku's glad that he's showing off this power. Frieza does admit he's somewhat impressed. He didn't think this planet would be that powerful. Had he known, he would have called the Ginyu Force to deal with this, but it looks like they probably wouldn't even be able to fight this Saiyan. But it seems like this planet's a graveyard for Saiyans anyways. Raditz, Nappa, Vegeta, then Goku, and his kid. But Goku says Frieza's not gonna get anywhere near his kids. Kids? He has multiple? So there's even more Saiyans than he thought. But Goku tells Frieza he doesn't even realize. He didn't even kill Vegeta. Goku was able to save him just in time. And Frieza's destruction ends here, especially after that threat to his family, his friends, and this planet in general, plus a warning from King Kai. All that combined makes him want to stop Frieza right away. But as they battle, Goku does note something. He's looking into Frieza's mind during this battle, and he sees something really weird. He only sees hatred and anger. This is nothing he's seen before. He's seen pure good in others, such as his wife, his kids, and Kami. But with Frieza, it's the exact opposite. He sees pure evil. He thinks back to fighting Raditz and Nappa. He couldn't read minds back then, but he wonders if they were the same way. As he just read Vegeta's mind right now, it seemed like there was a sliver of hope that maybe he wasn't pure evil, even though he might claim it. He ended up having to kill Raditz, and he thinks he probably would have had to do the same for Nappa too. Although, he wonders if he would have seen the same thing within them. Would they be pure evil like Frieza? Or would they be like Vegeta, where maybe there was a shot at redemption? And Goku was hoping he'd see that within Frieza. Maybe there's a shot that he could just turn away and leave this planet alone. Frieza's sick at the thought of Goku even thinking that he'd be good. There's not an ounce of that within him, and Goku says he could see that plainly. It looks like he has no choice. Frieza is set on destroying Earth and killing everyone here pretty much. He could see that plainly in Frieza's mind. So, he tells him to use his full power, because while looking into his mind, he also saw that Frieza's still holding back. And he gives Frieza the opportunity to power up. King Kai shouts into Goku's mind asking him what he's doing, and Kami even butts in too, wondering the same. But Goku tells him not to worry. No matter how strong Frieza is at his full power, it's not going to be enough to match its current state. Goku's friends are able to defeat the rest of the Frieza force, and just as they do, Frieza finally finishes powering up. This is going to be a nice test for the new thing that he's unlocked. Goku's been doing a lot of training in Otherworld, and he hasn't really unlocked a new form yet, even though he was looking for Super Saiyan. But he got something just as interesting, if not more interesting. It's an ability he created for himself, although it is inspired by King Kai. But as far as he knows, this is his own unique ability. After learning limited magic and spirit control, he now has the ability to heal himself and others, although for himself, that healing is really slow compared to healing others. But his self-healing is just as fast as something else. The speed at which he could heal himself is just as fast as the rate that Kaioken destroys his body. This new power is pretty draining, but now, he could use Kaioken without injuring himself because simultaneously, he heals himself too. It's a huge breakthrough, and he calls this Evolved Kaioken. It's data Kaioken that drains a lot of power, but doesn't injure him at all, which means he could push it up to much higher levels. He shouts, times 50, and he's easily above Frieza with this. This might even be overkill. He's tested it out in fights in Otherworld, but this is the first test against a real threat, a battle where something is actually at stake. And just as another quick test, he tells Frieza this isn't the full extent of his power. Times 50 he could use pretty easily, but he could push Kaioken even further. For a brief moment, Goku's power spikes dramatically. Frieza just disappears. It's so quick that no one else can see what happens. They just see a quick flash of light, and then Goku stands there in base, breathing a bit heavily, but he seems perfectly fine otherwise. In that quick moment, he used his ultimate power, Max Kaioken. Now, there's no set multiplier for this because it's constantly evolving. Whatever Goku's maximum with Kaioken is at the moment, that's what it'll be. At this point in the story, he theorized that Kaioken goes up to times 200, but it burns out pretty quickly, and he's going to continue to go beyond that too, and hopefully learn to be more efficient with Kaioken. He did that essentially to assure that Frieza's dealt with. Who knows, he might have pulled some sort of tricky maneuver like Raditz did where he attempted to blow up Earth. As his friends run over to him to celebrate, he sees Vegeta watching nearby, completely dumbfounded. Is Kakarot a Super Saiyan? Goku says no, at least not yet. He doesn't assume he is. He's been looking into how to attain it, but there's not really any Saiyans in Otherworld to ask, because, most of them are in Hell, and he really shouldn't go down there on his own accord. As Kami now, he has to be a bit more responsible, although he laughs this off. What does he mean he's Kami? Like, he's God? That doesn't make sense. And Goku says there's a lot of stuff going on that doesn't make sense. Sure, he's a low-class Saiyan, but Vegeta really didn't know what he was dealing with, did he? Although it's not just him who's in awe at Goku's power. Piccolo has the same exact feeling, and he wants to catch up to Goku in any way possible, and he has one sort of idea, but he doesn't know if it'll really work. Realizing he's probably not going to catch up with Goku in any other way, Piccolo does have one idea. An idea that wasn't really his, but one that was suggested to him, and one that he realized would work really well, although he's going to have to swallow his pride for it. Kami actually did get in contact with Piccolo. If Piccolo wants more strength, there is a good way to get that, and it's been a long time coming. He and Kami could just reunite. They don't even realize it's Namekian fusion, but Goku does once he hears about it. Kami thinks it's time by now. Goku's training has gone well enough, and it looks like he's going to make a good Kami. Kami's taught him everything he can. In this way, he'll live on even longer through Piccolo. Kami knew this day would come eventually. This is good for everyone. It's good for him. It's good for Piccolo. It's good for Goku. Especially because this will officially make Goku Guardian, no longer a Guardian in training. And Kami wants this to happen too. Piccolo is pretty reluctant about it, but he's going to be the host and grow stronger from it, so he's convinced to do so. And Kami says his goodbyes to everyone. He tells Goku that he's proud of his growth, remembering back to the first day that Goku came up to the lookout. He always expected great things of Goku, and he's glad Earth will be in good hands with the new Guardian. But Kami says he won't be gone for good. When he and Piccolo merge, a new Namekian will be born essentially, and he hopes Piccolo keeps watch over Goku to make sure that he's doing his job. But Goku says he has nothing to worry about, thanking Kami for everything. The two Namekians merge, leaving behind a much stronger nameless Namekian and a brand new Guardian, Goku. He's officially Kami, no longer a Guardian in training. And thankfully it's not like they need to worry about the Dragon Balls because now Goku can create his own set. That problem was solved before it even existed. But most importantly, now that he's officially Kami, Goku will need to be a lot more serious about this. And Piccolo's there and he does feel a little bit different. Goku can sense Kami within him, and Piccolo could feel that. This power that he got is great. But also part of him is concerned because now Goku's Guardian of Earth. He knows that Goku's powerful and is a great warrior, but how effective is he going to be as Guardian? He might hang around Goku a little bit more just to make sure he's doing everything right. And Goku's not too worried. He's also looking forward to it. He's going to be up here all the time. Watching over Earth's fine, but he could train to his heart's content up here. Plus, he's even renovated the Room of Spirit in time with Kami. He doesn't know how often he's going to use it, but now that he's going to age so much slower and probably live a lot longer too, using the Room of Spirit in time could be pretty helpful. So it would be a shame if he was limited to 2 years only in there. And at some point he actually does go in there to test it out. Heading in with Piccolo actually. Although the timing's not really that great. He's supposed to be watching over Earth. He thought maybe a day in there wouldn't be too bad, but the exact day he goes in, King Cold and the Ginyu Force descend on Earth too. Thankfully there are other people on the lookout. Chi-Chi and Gohan are watching over too. And she's not even surprised. Of course she has to take responsibility for Goku here. But this isn't really that big of a deal. All she does is simply teleport to King Yama, and then with one powerful jump, she jumps across the entirety of Snake Way, landing on King Kai's planet, telling everyone there to go to Earth right now. Just as King Cold and the Ginyu Force land, Chi-Chi, Tan, and Krillin are there to greet them, with Yamcha and Chaozu also showing up too after hearing about this. Now, they might be a bit concerned at first, realizing that this is Frieza's father obviously, but it's been a while since Frieza died actually, and they've had more than enough training with King Kai. Now with access to Kaioken, they should actually be able to win this battle. The Ginyu Force actually isn't too hard to fight. Sure, Ginyu is almost able to swap bodies with someone, and Goldo's time stop is actually pretty powerful. But other than that, the fastest thing in the universe, aka Birder, he isn't actually so fast in comparison to them. Recoome and Jace aren't too hard to fight either, and same goes for Ginyu. Goldo might be able to live a little bit longer just because of his time-stopping ability, but he's greatly outmatched in terms of power. They don't even need to use Kaioken here against the Ginyu Force. And as for King Cold himself, they're not going to let him power up to full power like Goku did with Frieza. No, they just immediately jump in the battle at their full power, using Kaioken to its max. Let's say they each have access to times 10 by now. And with how much it buffs them, they're able to collectively overpower him pretty easily, and the battle ends before it even really starts. A few hours later, Goku exits the time chamber with Piccolo, a lot stronger than before. He sees Popo watching over Goten as Gohan's training on the lookout alone, and he asks where Chi-Chi went. Oh yeah, Gohan says that Frieza's father showed up or something. Wait, what? Goku and Piccolo panic and quickly rush over to the edge of the lookout, and as they look down at the surface they see, there was never really a problem in the first place, although Chi-Chi's pretty mad at Goku. So is Piccolo, but Goku says Piccolo's to blame too. He went in the time chamber too, didn't he? Goku has to figure out a way for him to train while also being able to watch over Earth at the same exact time. In the time chamber, King Cold wasn't strong enough to be sensed within there. Now sure, if someone really strong came to Earth, he would have been able to sense it within that same room, but he had no idea King Cold even showed up. And had he not been as outmatched as he was, that could have been a disaster. So he's not going to go in the room of Spirit and Time for a little bit. Which is kind of unfortunate, but he's got to get used to this job. A few months go by, and seemingly out of nowhere, Goku feels a really strong and strange presence on the lookout. And it's not exactly malicious, but he's fearful of it. Not as in he fears for his life, but it feels like there's someone who's higher up than him there. Like he's their subordinate. A man calls out Goku's name and greets him. Piccolo is there too, just as fearful. And the two of them immediately can recognize who this guy is. It's the Supreme Kai. Goku's heard about him in Otherworld. But why is he here? In the mortal realm, no less. Shin says he's heard a lot about Goku, and don't worry, it's good things. He sees that Goku's now officially Guardian of Earth. And he can tell that Goku's grown pretty strong. The reason he's come here is because he actually senses the threat. He doesn't know when it's going to show up, but it's probably going to be years from now. And he thinks Goku would be a good candidate to train for that. Obviously, Goku has no idea what he's talking about, but Shin says that's fine. He didn't expect Goku to know about this, and he tells him about Majin Buu. Thankfully, Majin Buu's not showing up anytime soon. But Shin does want to let Goku know of that threat because he's probably going to show up on Earth if anything. And even if not, Shin wants to make sure there's a strong enough warrior out there. He heard this guy was able to defeat Frieza relatively easily. And he's making a lot of moves in Otherworld. Even compared to the other warriors there, Goku's one of the strongest that he's heard of. Although not the strongest, there are some people in Otherworld that are above him. But unlike those warriors, Goku's actually alive. He could fight here in the mortal realm, which is where a threat would actually occur. And not just that, Shin is curious to see how strong this mortal can grow. It's such a strange thing too, a Saiyan from Earth taking a godly position like this. Goku intrigues him. Goku says he would like to go there, but he has no way of watching over Earth while he's gone. Chi-Chi and Piccolo could do it, but the whole point of him being Guardian is that he has to do this. If only he had a crystal ball like Baba where he could just watch through it. He feels like he even remembers Kami using one at some point, and Shin said that should be no problem. They know of other Kais that are able to create that, and even they can create that on their own probably. Especially if someone like Baba is able to do that, it shouldn't be too hard to work out, and Goku can watch over Earth from the Sacred World of Kais. Okay, well that's great, but what about getting back to Earth? Sure, he could use instant transmission, but it's going to take a while to lock onto someone here. Shin says that also won't be a problem. How do they think he got here? He has an even better ability than instant transmission, one that allows him to teleport to any planet without needing a key signature. Now, Goku doesn't need too much convincing. He really does want to do this, but he also doesn't want to leave his responsibility here, although this is a nice way to work around that. He'll be able to watch over Earth even from the Sacred World of Kais, and if he needs to come back, he can get there instantly with the Kai Kai. Shin and Kibito could bring him back, or he could just learn the technique himself. Goku gets to the Sacred World of Kais, and Kibito isn't so sure about this. He doesn't like the idea that a mortal's here. And Shin even tries to get Goku to pull the Z-Sword, but he's not able to do that just yet. Kibito doubts he'll ever be able to do so. And as they watch Goku train, they do notice something strange. Shin can sense a strange thing inside of Goku. He feels the presence of some sort of dormant virus within there. And he asks Goku to let him check him for a second. And as he confirms it, he tells Kibito to heal Goku. Goku doesn't even know what just happened, but Shin explains. There was some virus within him, and he didn't know if it was going to become active anytime soon, but it might have, and it might have killed Goku. He was just cured of the heart virus, and he doesn't even realize it. Goku can already tell coming here was a great choice, and he's excited for the training up ahead. Back on Earth, there is another person we kinda need to cover. That's Vegeta. He does obviously stay there, and he trains a lot too. Trying to surpass Goku, of course. Piccolo's surprised that Goku even saw something within him, but now that he has Kami's mind too, he could see what Goku meant. Vegeta isn't completely irredeemable. And Piccolo has a really new outlook on life. It's a whole new view on everything actually, and a huge respect for Goku too, thanks to what came from Kami. He always did admire Goku's strength as a warrior, but now he could see what Kami saw within Goku too. So it's more than just recognizing that Goku's strong. And thankfully, unlike Goku, Piccolo can actually train in the time chamber as much as he wants. He ages a lot slower, and he might even start eating the same herb that Goku ate. But regardless, Namekians live a lot longer and age a lot slower in general. So the time chamber, it won't really be too big of an issue for him to use, especially if he's going to want to push himself more. Although, he wonders what Vegeta is trying to achieve here. He knows that Goku's so far ahead of him, so what is he going for? Goku's gone back and forth between Earth and the Sacred World of Kais, but one day, he shows up back on the lookout. As he was watching over Earth, he saw something that concerned him. It's small right now, but it could spiral out of control. There was an attack in some city, and he can't sense the presence there, but he did see something that really concerned him. One of the attackers was wearing the symbol of the Red Ribbon Army. He assumes these might be androids, considering he can't sense them. And he gathers everyone together as they go down to the city. Goku can obviously handle this himself, but he does want to see what the others are capable of. He's there with Chi-Chi, Piccolo, and Gohan. With Krillin eventually catching up too, even Goten comes to watch, but he's not going to fight here. Piccolo says this will be a good test of his power. He doesn't know how strong these androids will be, but he's confident he could beat them, especially after all his training in the time chamber. It's androids 17 and 18 that they're up against. In case you didn't notice, there's no time travel here. They weren't warned about the androids, they weren't warned about the heart virus, and Goku never succumbed to the heart virus either. Piccolo starts the battle by fighting android 17. And it's a pretty unfair match, because with all the training that Piccolo's done so far, plus the fact that he's still merged with Kami here, he's definitely stronger than normal even if he hasn't merged with Nail too. But on top of that, without Trunks disrupting the timeline, the androids might even be a little bit weaker here too, only as strong as they were in the future timeline. And while Piccolo fights android 17, 18 watches on. Not really expecting a big battle, but she's surprised to see that her brother's being beaten. And she's about to jump in and help him, but someone else shows up there. Having sensed this battle going on, Vegeta flew in. Perfect, Kakarot's here too. So it seems there's another threat here on Earth, which means he can go all out if he wants, right? Well, yeah, but Goku advises against it. They don't know how strong these opponents are. And Vegeta says to stop worrying. He's unlocked a power so great that it'll make Kakarot look weak in comparison. After all this time, he's finally discovered it. His hate and resentment towards himself allowed him to transform. Go beyond his current state of being and surpass Kakarot. What is he talking about? He looks over at Android 18 and tells her to watch closely, as he then turns back to Goku and begins transforming. He's surrounded by a brilliant golden light, and his power soars dramatically. After all this time, finally, Vegeta's become the first Super Saiyan. And he starts fighting Android 18. He's had so many years of gravity training, plus all those boosts in power he's had from his previous battles. And he decides to show it off against Android 18. Piccolo finishes his fight with Android 17 and destroys the android completely. It wasn't too big of a deal, and if Vegeta starts having trouble, he could defeat Android 18 as well. Vegeta is surprisingly able to keep up with Android 18, but she does have infinite energy, and she actually does have a little bit of an advantage in terms of strength. The power of Super Saiyan is amazing, but they could pretty easily see that Vegeta's not going to be able to defeat Android 18, which will probably be a huge blow to his pride. But Piccolo has an idea of how to finish this quickly, in a way that won't piss Vegeta off. He just has to wait for the right moment. Goku's interested to watch how Vegeta's fighting in Super Saiyan. That form is interesting and he wonders how it would benefit him. And at one point in the battle, he launches a powerful blast at Android 18. Now, this blast wouldn't have killed him, but Piccolo is able to add some of his own power to the blast very covertly, in a way that Vegeta won't be able to see. This boosts the power of the blast greatly, and destroys Android 18. And this makes Vegeta feel like he was the one to actually do it. Piccolo thinks this guy's drunk off power, but it's better to at least give him this win instead of making him even more angry. And Vegeta's satisfied here. It was a tough battle, but it showed off the power of Super Saiyan. And he thinks he won all alone. Piccolo has to pretend to be impressed, but Goku actually is impressed. Yeah, Vegeta's not that strong in comparison to them, but he does want to learn more about Super Saiyan, although he's probably going to have to practice that on the Sacred World Akais. He thanks everyone for helping out. They're able to get the Dragon Balls and restore the damage done by the androids, but thankfully it was pretty secluded. And Goku immediately goes back to the Sacred World Akais, with Vegeta pretty surprised because he thought Goku might have wanted to train with him. Wasn't he impressed by the power of Super Saiyan? He should be begging Vegeta to show him that power. But instead, Piccolo's going to be the one that actually trained with Vegeta. He is interested in Vegeta's power, and Piccolo kinda does need a training partner. He's still far above Vegeta, but this could still be beneficial for the both of them. And maybe Vegeta would like the Room of Spirit in time, even if they only go in for a day or two. And that's exactly what they do. Also, during this arc, if you could even really call it that, Trunks is born eventually. Vegeta and Bulma are still a thing here, so even though future Trunks never appeared, Trunks still exists. Although, one really interesting thing to note is that Cell's never gonna appear here. At least the one from the alternate timeline. Without Trunks ever traveling to the past, there's no time machine. And there's no timeline where Cell steals the time machine and comes to this timeline. But the present version of Cell, the one that's in Jiro's lab still being developed, he's never found. So Cell's still gonna develop here, but it's gonna be a while before he awakens. Just something to keep in mind though. While the threat was avoided right now, who knows what's gonna happen years from now. Goku continues his training on the Sacred World Akais. He still isn't able to pull the Z-Sword yet. Even when using Max Kaioken, it's not enough. So, he changes his training a bit, and starts training for Super Saiyan. After observing Vegeta use it just a little bit, he was able to figure out how Vegeta achieved it. Also, because Vegeta gave a monologue about how he achieved it. And it doesn't take too long for Goku. Within about a month, Goku's able to unlock Super Saiyan for himself. And it's not really that great. Like, yeah, it gives him a great boost in power, but he has more of a boost in power with Max Kaioken. And sure, Kaioken is draining, but so is Super Saiyan right now. Goku can push Kaioken further, and with the more training he has from it, it's becoming more and more efficient. He wonders if Super Saiyan will ever be useful. Well, maybe he'll just have to work on making this more efficient too. And who knows, he might even be able to merge it with Kaioken. But that's probably going to take a while. Thankfully, he has all the time in the world. We enter the time skip after the Android Saga. Goku, of course, is with the Supreme Kai. He does worry a bit about Earth though, especially because Vegeta's still there. It does seem like he's calmed down a bit, but judging by how he acted against the androids, he's not too sure. He seemed very full of himself, and he did kill one of the androids, same for Piccolo. And with Piccolo doing it, it's one thing, but with Vegeta, it seems like he's still somewhat of his old self. He clearly went in that battle looking for blood. Although, Vegeta's not the strongest there on Earth, Piccolo is. At least when Goku's not there. So it should be fine, although he does kinda wonder what would happen if he let the androids live. He gave Vegeta a second chance after all, but he never really got a chance to look into their minds. And with him thinking about this for the androids, at some point Goku actually asked Shenron for a favor, surprisingly reviving the androids without anyone's knowledge. As Guardian of Earth, he's working to protect all Earthlings, and the androids are Earthlings. He never gave them a second chance. When he let his friends fight, he didn't know they would just go for the kill right away. And that's fine and all, especially with the situation they were in, but the androids never really got to do too much. Of course, this is done in tandem with Goku restoring all the damage that they did. Asking for a few simple wishes: restore all the damage caused by the androids, revive anyone killed during that time period, and he asked Shenron if he could remove all that evil programming within them. But as Guardian, he could see that they're not all bad. They obviously didn't become androids willingly either, and he feels content about this. Hopefully there's no other androids out there though, because they're probably hardwired to kill him and everyone else. And before you ask, no, he's not doing this with Raditz and Nappa. He made the decision to kill them, and they chose to be that way. With the androids, they didn't choose that lifestyle, and they didn't get a second chance. Also, it's been too long, and there's no point to bring them back in the scenario either. Back on Earth, Chi-Chi feels kinda bad that Gohan's been stuck up here basically his whole life. Yeah, they do go down to the surface a lot and meet people down there, but while they're content up here, Gohan does need to be sent to school down on the surface to socialize like a normal person. He is growing smart up here. Popo's a great tutor, and when Kami was around, he was really smart too. So obviously Gohan had a good amount of schooling, but he needs to go to an actual school now. So he's sent to school down on the surface. Thankfully, with her and Goku being Guardian, they can teleport around places on Earth. So while he could ride Nimbus to school, she simply just teleports him outside of the city limits and then he runs in there. Although it's kinda weird because when people ask where he lives, he kinda has to skirt around the answer. He does excel well at school too, and he's pretty well liked there. It's strange, it's almost like he has an aura about him that makes people like him. Also, weirdly enough, they don't realize they're around the son of Kami, which is kinda biblical when you think about it. That's an interesting way to look at it. But Gohan wants to try and live a normal human life. He's not gonna end up being Kami. Of course, his parents are guardians of Earth basically, but Gohan actually just wants to live a normal life down there. As normal as someone related to God can be. The same goes for Goten too, but he's still being raised up there on the lookout. And Gohan spends a lot more time on the surface trying to blend in with the humans. It's not really too hard though. Speaking of blending in with the humans, Vegeta's kinda doing the same thing too. He's still around obviously. Of course, his case is different from Gohan's. Vegeta's an evil Saiyan that became an Earthling. Gohan is a half-alien godly figure trying to be an Earthling. But both are kinda succeeding in their own way, becoming more accustomed to Earthling life. And thankfully, despite Goku's concerns, Vegeta is starting to be more normal, even with a small family of his own now. As for Gohan, he actually avoids the Saiyaman stuff this time. He does kinda contemplate it, but he doesn't really want to draw more attention to himself. Like, yeah, he can come up with a disguise and such, but he wants to be just normal here. He doesn't want to stick out to everyone. Although there are some points where he can't really contain it, and he fights as the Golden Warrior. This is very short-lived though, especially because it's not too hard to tell that it's him. Well, most civilians in Dragon Ball are stupid for some reason, and like they can't recognize that it's just Gohan with blonde hair, but Videl can't. So Gohan has to stop kinda quick, after accidentally catching her attention. While Goku is training under Shinigami, he obviously goes back to Earth from time to time and is watching it from there. He has that crystal ball to look through to watch over Earth, and he can just teleport between planets pretty easily. He had engine transmission and Kami's version of the Kai Kai, but now he has the real Kai Kai, the one that lets him teleport basically anywhere in the universe unrestricted. Not even limited to just this universe, he could actually just teleport pretty much anywhere he wants. Because now Goku actually does know about the multiverse, and the hierarchy of other gods, as well as the fact that there are other universes like this one. But Goku still has a lot more to learn before he gets to explore the other universes. Although, he is excited and looks forward to it. And he especially looks forward to meeting the god of destruction, Beerus. He's heard about him, and he's asleep right now, but he doesn't know when he's actually going to meet Beerus. Shin kind of advises against it, but Goku's excited. During those times where Goku is on Earth, he realizes now at the lookout it's getting kind of cramped. Like, the lookout is pretty big. But he has his family up there, and his friends visit a lot, and Piccolo's up there a lot too. He basically has that as a second home. So he, Popo, and Piccolo actually extend the lookout, building more onto it. It's not as lonely as it once was before, which is very emblematic of how Goku would be. Of course, Kami's gonna be all proper with his rule, and the lookout was pretty restrictive, but Goku's Goku. People naturally gravitate towards him, whether he's a god or not. Plus, Goku's continuously watching over Earth, mainly because now he knows about the threat of Buu. He's been filled in about everything, and he spent a lot of time training to prepare for Buu's arrival. At some point over this time skip, after years of training, Goku actually is able to pull the Z-Sword, and it's thanks to a new power that he's unlocked. Well, kind of a new power. After working some more on Super Saiyan, of course he gained mastery over it. And he still does have Evolved Kaioken, which is continuously growing every day. Especially Max Kaioken. He theorized that he can max out Kaioken at about times 1000 now, which is absurd. Especially with his self-healing growing even stronger than before too. but he could really only use Max Kaioken in short bursts. If he wants to use Evolved Kaioken casually, it's going to be around times 200, which is still a massive boost obviously. Unlike Evolved Kaioken though, Super Saiyan isn't as draining once he masters it. He could just stay in the form and actually not really feel anything at all. Despite the healing properties of Evolved Kaioken, it does drain energy. Pretty fast in fact. Like mentioned earlier in the series, the big benefit to Evolved Kaioken is the fact that he can max it out even further than before, since it's basically him counteracting the effects of Kaioken destroying his body. So he's not injured by it, but he is worn out by it. He can't just self-heal infinitely. There is a limit to his stamina. But with that entire tangent aside, the thing Goku unlocked was combining Kaioken with Super Saiyan. Since he could use Super Saiyan pretty much effortlessly now, he could throw Evolved Kaioken on top of that, and once he does so, he pulls out the Z-Sword with ease. He probably could have done that with Evolved Kaioken alone, but he kinda got sidetracked trying to combine the two rather than actually focusing on pulling the sword. He didn't realize how strong he'd grown. He probably could have actually pulled the sword a while ago if he tried, but better late than never, and he starts messing around with the Z-Sword and training with that, which eventually leads to the Z-Sword being broken, freeing Elder Kai from it. Which of course leads to him gaining more knowledge from Elder Kai too, but also he finds out about Elder Kai's ritual. Elder Kai is pretty interested to see Goku here on the planet, obviously hearing about how Saiyans are, and knowing that Goku's a regular mortal basically, or at least was at one point. He never would have thought a mortal could have grown to this level. He's actually far stronger than Shin or Kibito at this point, and Elder Kai wonders what would happen if he were able to unlock Goku's potential. How strong could he truly grow? So of course, they end up doing the ritual for him. Surprisingly here in this scenario, Super Saiyan isn't really focused on right now. It's a big thing for Vegeta obviously, with him trying to surpass that somehow. But for Goku it's a little bit of an afterthought, and Gohan, even though he only has Super Saiyan 1, I would say base Gohan is definitely stronger than normal, so it kind of balances out. Even though he has a lower form of Super Saiyan, still, he's absurdly strong. But Vegeta's really the only one focusing on trying to improve it, and that's mainly because he's working with Piccolo. Goku on the other hand got it kinda late, and Evolved Kaioken was already better by then. Especially now, Goku's gonna kinda toss Super Saiyan to the side. Maybe he'll come back to it later, but now he has access to the ultimate form thanks to Elder Kai. This will help him grow far more than he could have ever imagined. With all this preparation too, as you'd probably expect, the Buu saga is not going to happen, but that doesn't mean that Buu's not going to be revived. At the end of the time skip, right before the tournament, Goku's been watching over Earth and can see that Babidi's already arrived there. The moment he arrives, Goku teleports in. With pretty much no effort at all, he fights Dabura as well as all the other minions there. And Babidi tries his best to try and stop Goku, but nothing works. And with relative ease, Babidi and all his minions are eliminated. Shin and Kibito go to take Buu's egg. They're surprised that it was done this quickly, and they're obviously glad. But now they need to find a way to get rid of the egg and make sure nothing bad ever happens with it. But Goku tells Shin to wait a moment. He wonders, now that he knows more about magic, he kinda wants to try and awaken Buu himself. What? Is he crazy? Why would he do that? Well, Goku says there's a few reasons. For one, if they awaken Buu, then Goku can just kill him on the spot. He feels like he has more than enough power to do so. They don't know how strong Buu is necessarily, but Goku's pretty confident in this. Not cocky, just confident. He knows he could win here. And that's the worst case scenario, and that would be good if they just completely eliminate Buu. He could probably even have King Yama purify him. But even better, Goku thinks there might be a chance they could change Buu. Maybe there is a way to purify him like King Yama does, but Goku could be the one to do it. He could do this without killing or reincarnating Buu. He could just purify him completely. Of course, it's dangerous to release him, but Goku likes the prospect of having a strong ally like that. And besides, there's not a scenario where they lose here. Best case, they purify Buu and they don't have to worry about him, and now Goku has a strong ally to work with. Worst case, Buu is irredeemable no matter how strong Goku's magic is. So, they kill Buu, eliminating him for good and make sure that he never gets revived again. Shin is a bit concerned about this idea, but he trusts Goku's judgment, taking Buu's egg back to the Sacred World of Kai's. Goku's not going to do this right now because first, he has a tournament to join. Even though he's God, he's still going to participate in the tournaments. The tournament comes and goes, and it's peaceful this time. They all have fun there. Surprisingly enough, he even sees Android 18 there, who enters it for the prize. He does keep an eye on her, and it does seem like the androids aren't going to go around killing people this time. Plus, he only sees one of them. He's glad they're doing well at least. But outside of that, there's nothing really to note of in the tournament. And Goku's mainly excited because he knows after the tournament, he might have a brand new ally, someone strong to fight against. On the Sacred World of Kai's, Goku starts spending weeks looking over Buu's egg, trying to come up with some sort of purification technique. With his own power alone, he could actually use that to revive Buu. Shin, Kibito, and Elder Kai are still really concerned about this, thinking this is a terrible idea. But again, they do trust Goku's judgment. He's not doing this for no reason, and if he actually pulls this off, it's going to be proof of how great he is as Kami. And eventually, after a lot of time thinking and practicing, Goku figures out the best way to do this. Goku spends time charging a sphere of ki in his hands, and it looks very strange. Clearly no ordinary ki attack. It's a pulsating rainbow sphere of ki, and Goku just crushes it in between his hands, then simply flinging it at the egg. Sparkles of ki fly off the egg, and an evil presence radiates off of it too, evaporating in the air. Goku explains what he just did. The attack that he just made was imbued with magic. and he basically made it so it targets any sort of evil energy and only destroys evil energy. And despite its small size, the attack was powerful. Think of it as evil being bacteria and this is a disinfectant, except this one kills 100% of germs. But there's only one way to see if this truly worked. Goku gives a portion of his energy to the egg, and the egg simply cracks open. It's not an explosive awakening. Out of thin air, Buu forms there, and they can't sense an ounce of evil within him. He's purely good. It definitely is Majin Buu, the same one that Shin saw before, but he's not evil. Shin can't believe it at all. He actually did it. He purified the incarnation of evil. Basically just to see if he could do it, and it could have an ally like that. It's truly a testament to how great Goku is as Kami. But what he just did isn't just protecting Earth, it's protecting the entire universe. Goku's amazing at reforming people. Yes, there are some people like Frieza that are just pure evil. He wondered if something like this would have worked on Frieza, but it probably would have killed him. At least with the Buu, it seemed like there was some good in there because part of him was the Kai's. Which is weird to think about. He was the incarnation of evil, but he was able to survive this. And the Buu we see here is basically the one we see in the series now where he's purely good. Kami might not be good enough for someone like him. Yeah, he's an amazing Kami and all. But how would he like to be an apprentice Kai? Well, Goku's not really too sure. He already basically is an apprentice Kai, but Shin wants him to become an actual Supreme Kai. Unlike Kami, there's a lot more that's involved with this, and it's going to take way more years of training. Like, he'll probably have to be an apprentice for centuries. Plus, he's also basically jumping positions. Like, yeah, Guardian of Earth is a great position, but he's jumping so many other positions to become Supreme Kai. Also, feels like it's not really for him, but he does like the idea of Shin training him. And who knows, maybe he'll be convinced to do so. But he tells Shin there's no promises. He's not really too sure if that's a role that he wants to be in. And Shin completely understands, but the offer is still open. Imagine Goku as a Supreme Kai. He's already doing so great as Kami. And with his raw power alone, he's already stronger than all the other people in the universe. He's the strongest thing around. Well, at least the strongest mortal around. There are still two people above him, Beerus and Whis, with Goku still wondering when he's going to get to meet them. But thankfully for him, it doesn't take too long. Not long after purifying Buu, Beerus actually does wake up, setting his alarm a little bit earlier. He planned this a while ago. He wanted to set his alarm this early because he felt like he would meet someone at this time, and he had a prophecy while he was dreaming too. He was going to meet some sort of new godly rival, someone that he wouldn't have ever expected, and it appears to be some sort of Saiyan maybe. When he asks Whis about this, Whis is able to find a Saiyan pretty quickly. Apparently, the Guardian of Earth is a Saiyan now. And to make things even better, he's basically an apprentice Kai training under Shin. There's no way it can't be him. So, Beerus immediately heads toward the sacred world of Kais, meeting Goku for the first time. He also did have some sort of prophecy about the Super Saiyan God, so he asked Goku but he knows nothing about it. But he gets to test Goku's power at least, with Goku finally getting to show off Ultimate in a fight, and one where he has to actually go all out. It's been a while since he's actually faced a challenge like this, and this is amazing. It's everything he ever dreamed of. He hasn't had to go all out for an opponent in so long. I always feel like there's never anyone there to challenge him. But here, he holds absolutely nothing back. And Beerus is really impressed with his power. Sure, it's nowhere near the level of his, but still, even without him being a Super Saiyan God, he's still incredibly powerful as is. And Beerus can feel some godly ki within him. He's picked up on trace amounts of godly ki, and not just whatever he'd get from the Kais. Beerus can actually sense a godly presence within him, one above any of the other mortals. It's not fair to call Goku immortal anymore. He's not simply Guardian of Earth. He's a bona fide god. Although his power is not quite where Beerus wants it to be yet. Sure, it's far more impressive than Beerus could have ever expected, but it's not a Super Saiyan god like he expected. But he's glad that he found Goku, and tells Goku to find him soon. He wants Goku to train as much as possible, grow to become the Super Saiyan god. If anyone can find it, it'll be him. Shin, Kibito, and Elder Kai are kinda terrified, especially after watching Beerus fight somewhat seriously. Although he was holding back a lot, but it seemed like he was having a lot of fun. And they're surprised that encounter went so smoothly. Again, it's a testament to how great Goku is. And Goku looks forward to seeing Beerus again. He's not going to go to Beerus' planet, and he's still going to stay here and train. But soon enough, Beerus will return, and Goku will give him a better fight. In the meantime, he's going to train to be a Super Saiyan God, and he has the perfect training partner here with him, Majin Buu. Goku's first step to trying to get stronger is training with his new training partner, Majin Buu. Of course, it seems like Buu lost a little bit of his power when he was purified, but he's still pretty powerful as a training partner, which is nice. And he spends a lot of his time on the Sacred World of Kai's training there. But he still can't figure out a way to unlock the Super Saiyan God form. He was hoping that he could just train for it, but whatever he's doing doesn't seem to work. But Elder Kai has an interesting suggestion. It's kind of a long shot, but he says Goku can try to go to Namek maybe. On Namek they have a book that records every sort of legend in the universe, and whatever info they have about it. And since the Super Saiyan God sounds like a legend to them, maybe that book will have some info about it. So, Goku has to end up going there. Thankfully he's pretty welcome on the planet, especially with the fact that he's a god from another planet, and he also works under the Supreme Kai. He's able to get access to the Book of Legends and looks into it. All the info here is crazy, and he can find some stuff about the Super Saiyan God too. But it seems like the only way to get that form is to actually use a ritual for it. Although, he doesn't really want to do that, Thankfully here, he's not under pressure from Beerus to do so. In Battle of Gods, he really had no choice. He had to do it, otherwise Beerus would have blown up Earth. Here, it's not nearly that urgent. But Goku can also see that a Super Saiyan God is something that requires godly ki, and he remembers that Beerus noted he had some sort of godly ki within him already. So Goku starts theorizing. Maybe if he just simply manifests that ki into a form somehow, he could use that to unlock the form himself. That way it'll feel earned, and he'll get the Super Saiyan God form that Beerus wants. The issue is, he doesn't necessarily know how to tap into that ki. It's there. So the issue isn't getting it, it's actually accessing that ki and trying to build it up somehow. Thankfully Goku's pretty suited for that kind of training too. He's knowledgeable as a martial artist and such, as well as basically being a master of regular ki. It's pretty simple for him to see that training for raw strength isn't what's going to get him this form. It's something completely separate. Although, he does wonder about the ultimate form again. Apparently that was supposed to draw out some of his potential, so he wonders if maybe he has some more locked in there. And considering that godly ki is part of his potential, maybe that could help draw it out. Again, another easy option for this is asking Elder Kai to unlock more of his power, if that's even possible somehow. But the whole point of Goku not doing the ritual is so that he can get the power on his own. So getting Elder Kai's help would be a little bit of a shortcut for that too, and he doesn't really like that. Goku returns to the Sacred World of Kai and begins a new type of training. He's completely stopped focusing on strength here. He's focused on just focus, essentially, trying to draw out that specific ki that he has. For weeks on end, he's there, basically just meditating. He does image training too, but most of the time he's just meditating to try and unlock that power. He doesn't know how much godly ki he has. It might be so little that it's going to be tough to unlock. Maybe there's a ton there and accessing it is just tough. But it doesn't take too long for him to figure out how to actually pinpoint it. The second he does, he tries to manifest that ki, also going into Ultimate to try and draw it out himself. Despite him not really liking being granted power, this Ultimate form is going to be really helpful for him. And in Ultimate, his aura starts morphing. It changes shape and color too. And he could feel it. It's a completely different type of ki flowing through him, one that he's never sensed before, one that he didn't even know how to sense until now. He doesn't really change appearance. He looks as if he's in his normal Ultimate form. But his aura is different. It's as if he's manifesting the power of godly ki within this form itself. It's not like Goku would know what the Super Saiyan God is either, so maybe this is what he needs to get. Maybe it's just this power being manifested. Of course, he knows it's a form, or at least some sort of state of being. He read the Namekian Book of Legends. But without knowing the specifics of it, he theorizes that maybe this is what he was looking for. This is what he'd need to fight Beerus. So he continues working with this. Little does Goku know, he didn't actually unlock the Super Saiyan God form. But he has access to godly ki, and his ultimate form was greatly buffed by this. He could go a step further and attain the Super Saiyan God form. It's in there somewhere now. It's also a weirdly unique case for him because first of all he has ultimate, second of all he has godly ki already, and third it's the way he's trying to attain this form too. With all these unique circumstances together, him getting the Super Saiyan God form would look way different than normal. And Goku's able to get in contact with Beerus again, with the two of them fighting once more. Beerus knows that he can sense that godly presence, but it doesn't seem to be enough. He was hoping there would be more power within there. Sure, Goku was strong before even without the godly ki, but now, he's far above where he was. Although, it's a little bit disappointing for Beerus. With a Super Saiyan God, he would have thought it would have been something greater. But from what Beerus theorizes, maybe this isn't a Super Saiyan God. Maybe Goku's on the cusp of it, and he just needs a little bit of an extra push. He doesn't have the God form because it's assimilated within his base and all his other forms right now. He essentially skipped the step of getting the form, but neither of them realize that. He's also been training months with this godly ki that he just unlocked too. He's grown a lot stronger, he can manifest it easily, and in general he's just more skilled and more powerful. So Beerus asks Goku how it is that they unlock new forms. Well, Goku doesn't really know. It's not just emotion, but from what he knows, Vegeta partially unlocks Super Saiyan through training, emotion, and having the mindset to get it. Although he doesn't necessarily know the specifics of it because him unlocking Super Saiyan is way different from how Vegeta did it. So maybe there's multiple ways of doing this. And Beerus really takes this to heart. It sounds like Goku needs to be pushed. Maybe that way he can unlock a new form. Beerus says he has an idea, but he's not sure if Goku's gonna like it. They're going to fight until he unlocks a new form. And Goku doesn't have a choice here. An odd aura flares up around Beerus. He looks almost angrier, and Whis could tell that he's about to lose control. But he wonders how far he's truly gonna go with this. Goku doesn't know if he can handle that sort of power that Beerus is using. But Beerus says it doesn't matter. He apologizes to Goku, but this will benefit the both of them. And Goku's nervous, but at the same time, he is a little bit excited. Maybe this method will work. He hasn't really had a true challenge in a while, so fighting someone like Beerus with his full power, or at least a very small fraction of his full power, that could actually help him unlock this. So, reluctantly he agrees to this method. But he's worried, he doesn't think just him being beaten up will be enough to unlock the form. But Beerus says it doesn't matter. Whis is gonna heal him. Whenever Goku's at the point of tapping out, Whis will fully heal him back to where he was before, and they'll just keep doing it until he unlocks a new form. They're basically gonna try to force the form out. That's kinda terrifying for Goku, but at the same time, he can see it working, especially without him having ever had a challenge in a while. Maybe that is what he needs to go beyond his current self. The fight resumes. Goku is able to keep up for a little bit, but Beerus starts to get a little bit more serious. Easily beating Goku. And only a few hits no less once he shows more power. Whis then simply goes over to Goku, tapping him with the staff and healing him instantly. Another round begins. Each time Goku gradually adjusts, growing stronger too, and Beerus can clearly see that growth. But he might be holding back too much against Goku. He knows Saiyans grow from also being injured greatly, at least to some sort of extent. Maybe he could try to exploit that too. Or maybe he needs something else to push him, like anger. Maybe Beerus kind of ruined his chances here. Goku knows Beerus isn't going to kill him regardless. And no matter what happens, he gets healed at the end of the battle. He's not going to see that there's any stakes here. So Beerus tries to change his approach, and Whis can immediately see the change in demeanor. He waited all this time for a Super Saiyan God, and he's gotten nothing. Beerus starts to play up his anger a little bit, even threatening to actually kill Goku, telling Whis to not heal him this time around. Goku's going to be useless. There's no way he's going to be Beerus' rival. He's frustrated that he had to wait this long, and he didn't even get anything out of it. How dare he keep a God of Destruction waiting like that and lie to him? And Goku is actually getting a bit terrified of this too, seeing that Beerus might be serious about this. But Beerus dials back his power a bit. He's going to prolong this fight as long as he can, giving Goku a better chance to fight him, but at the same time prolonging his beatdown. Goku didn't even tell Beerus about the Super Saiyan God ritual yet. He doesn't want to do it, but maybe he's going to have to tell Beerus, although he doesn't even really have the chance to do so. Because Goku didn't want to use the ritual to unlock this power, now he's kind of in a tough spot. Beerus is absolutely wailing on him, pushing Goku more than he's been pushed in a long time. How long has it been since Goku's faced a challenge like this? Not since the 23rd World Tournament. He forgot what this feels like. And maybe that's affected him. He hasn't had the need to push himself beyond where he is. Of course, he could train as much as he wants, but he's never had those stakes there. And now, he's facing them for the first time in a while. And he's beaten to the point where he can't even fight anymore. He has no energy. He's too injured. And as the icing on the cake, Beerus holds a hand out, charging a purple blast of ki in front of it. Or at least, what looks like ki. He's a God of Destruction. And what this is, it's pure destructive energy. He tells Goku once he's hit by this, he doesn't just die. He's completely erased. He ceases existing. The sphere of energy grows larger and larger. But suddenly, there's a bright pink flash of light. As Goku yells, everyone senses this huge increase in strength. But no one necessarily knows what just happened. Is this the Super Saiyan God form that Beerus was looking for? Well, in a way, it is a godly Super Saiyan form. Goku's there, looking like he's in Super Saiyan, except his hair is tinted pinkish this time. This is definitely something new. His aura is completely different as well. Through a mix of anger pushing him to this, and his unique position as an actual divine being, Goku unlocks something here that he wouldn't have unlocked normally. Inadvertently, he unlocks the Super Saiyan Rosé form. He starts fighting back against Beerus, and Beerus is elated. This is exactly what he wanted. Actually, no, more than that. Neither of them knew the specifics of the Super Saiyan God form, and they assumed that this is that. At least at first. But Beerus slowly realizes, the entire time, Goku might have been a Super Saiyan God. He just had that power with him in base. There wasn't a transformation with that. Maybe there is a form, maybe there isn't. Whatever the case though, Goku already was one. This is something beyond what he had before. And maybe the Super Saiyan God form itself, it wasn't really too impressive. This one though, it really is. The fight ends and Beerus says he's surprised that actually worked. He apologizes to Goku, but that was the only method he could see for unlocking this. Goku's healed up, and Beerus says he truly is a worthy rival. Now, it's time to work on this pink-haired form. Goku leaves the Sacred World of Kai, eventually going with Beerus. He does want to bring Boo along too because he's grown pretty fond of Boo. But Beerus knows what Boo is, and regardless of if he's been purified, that thing's not coming on his planet, especially because he's probably going to eat all the good food there. He can't have that. Thankfully, with Goku being such a good guardian, not only does he notice the Frieza Force eventually coming to Earth to try and revive Frieza, but he completely stops it really easily. And we also skip the Universe 6 tournament too. Champa sees how strong Goku is and knows that if he's going to be on the other team, his team will lose regardless, even with someone as strong as Hit maybe. Champa doesn't know for sure, but he doesn't want to take his chances, especially if they have other strong people just like that. Another reason the tournament is skipped is because Champa realizes he doesn't need the Super Dragon Balls and stops trying to gather them. Because Goku suggests that he simply wishes back Earth. They should have Dragon Balls on Namek in Universe 6 if it's the same as the Namek here, maybe even on other planets. When reading the Book of Legends, he saw that there's other sets of Dragon Balls out there, other Namekians on other planets, so maybe the same goes for Universe 6. Even better, he could just have a Kai create a new Earth and wish for the life there to return. He probably doesn't need the Super Dragon Balls to do this. Wouldn't it be better to start from scratch with the planet that they know won't destroy itself? Of course, Champa still doesn't want the Super Dragon Balls. Goku did bring some Earth food here to Beerus' planet, and that's what made Champa want to revive it, which gave him the twisted idea to transport Universe 7's Earth to Universe 6. But you know, this is better. This way he doesn't have to fight a losing tournament, he doesn't have to get in another argument with Beerus, and he gets his Earth back. Maybe he was being too rash and focused on just pissing Beerus off. When here, he could use this to get free good food. Thankfully, it is a period of relative peace. Goku spends a lot of time on Beerus' planet working on this form and training under Whis. And Super Saiyan Rosé has some insane power. Possibly he could even go beyond that, which is what he's working towards now. Although, Shin has another good idea for Goku. Since Goku's learning more about gods and such, and the fact that he wants to travel the multiverse, maybe he should meet Kais from other universes too. There is one that they know and they frequently visit, whom spars with Kibito a bunch, and this time Goku goes along with them, meeting the Apprentice Kai from Universe 10, Zamasu. Thankfully, without the Universe X tournament, and without time travel here, there's nothing really to tick Zamasu off about mortals. Well, he still doesn't like mortals that much, but without those things there, he doesn't get corrupted just yet and enact the Zero Mortals plan. Although, meeting Goku does surprise him. This mortal, he's some sort of apprentice? Why would Shin take a mortal as a student like that? And immediately upon the first meeting with Zamasu, Goku can sense something evil within his heart. It's dormant, and it's not really that significant right now, but it still is there. So Goku takes this encounter a lot more seriously. Once again, this ability that he got is coming in handy. Because if he didn't have this, he probably would have been too casual with Zamasu and might have pissed him off even more. But he tells Shin about this, that Kai is going down a dark path, and maybe Goku can show him what mortals are really like. That Kai seems to have a bad view on them. But just like Goku's changed the outlook and view of others, he's gonna do it with this Kai too. We've covered a lot of Goku though, so what's happening on Earth? Let's go back there for a bit. Of course, Goku does come back time to time, and they eventually do find out about his godly form, which absolutely astounds Vegeta. He wants to gain that godly power too. Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Rosé, whatever it is. He doesn't know the specifics of any of the forms, and honestly, neither do they. Everyone's kind of in the dark here due to how Goku wanted to unlock it. But Vegeta's gonna do whatever he can possible, training rigorously to catch up to Kakarot and even surpass him. He'll become a god too, whatever it takes. He spends a lot more time on the lookout to see Piccolo and Gohan, and he tells the two of them whether they like it or not, they're gonna work on this together. There's no other way for him to gain this power, and they're gonna have to grow stronger too alongside him. The three of them will train and go beyond their limits. Right now, Vegeta's worked beyond Super Saiyan. He's gotten Super Saiyan 2 and even Super Saiyan 3, although the latter does have some big downsides. But that can't be his limit. He has to be able to go further than that. All the while, Goku's so far ahead of everyone. The gap is insane. Even compared to his canon self at this point, Goku's far above that. His training's been so different and so beneficial that he's at a point now where his power is pretty unfathomable to everyone else. Also part of the reason Champa didn't want to do a tournament against him. He's gotten perfect control over this Rosé form. Oddly enough, it seems that anger can grow this form, but Goku doesn't really like that. That's not his style. Maybe it's just due to him being a Saiyan with divine powers. But there's other ways for him to grow too. Especially now with perfect control over this form and harmony with himself, Goku knows a power that can mesh with this form really well. How about this? A combination of his divine powers, his Saiyan powers, his magical abilities, and another technique he's learned in the past. He was thinking maybe he could try and go beyond Rosé by getting some form like Rosé 2 or something, but this is something he's already had within him, and he shows this off to Beerus one day. Powering up into Rosé, but the aura of it looks more red than normal, with a red outline appearing outside of it, and the aura gaining a fiercer shape too. And Goku's eyes, which are normally silver in this form, they turn a bright red color. He's surprised he was able to pull this off. It was dangerous and risky, but the payoff is huge. What he's done is combine his perfect control over Super Saiyan Rosé with his power from Evolved Kaioken, something he has a much better control of right now. The power is incredible too. Beerus is really impressed. This mortal never ceases to amaze him. Although, calling him a mortal is not really fair at this point. He truly is a godly being. Goku doesn't really know what to call this form. Of course, he could just call it Rosé Evolved Kaioken, but that's kind of a mouthful. He has a much better name for it. This is a form unique to him, the culmination of his unique powers and his unique lifestyle. This is Goku's newest state of power, Crimson Kai. Goku continuously meets with Zamasu to work with him more. Of course, he does return to Earth occasionally. Piccolo, Vegeta, and Gohan have all grown on their own. The thing is, though, Zamasu kind of worries him. Plus, Zamasu is a strong opponent, so it's nice to fight against him too. Although when Goku does show off his full power, it's obvious going to be way too much for Zamasu. But he does admire the form. Something about that rosé hair, it feels like Zamasu's seen that before. He can't quite put his finger on why, but he likes it. It looks pretty nice. But regardless, he could tell that's the form for a real divine being. And Goku acts very differently around Zamasu here, mostly acting formal because he's usually casual with other Kais but recognizes that he needs to appeal to Zamasu here somehow. And Zamasu does find Goku fascinating. He seems to uphold all the values of a Kai. So even though he's a mortal that's been put into that position, Zamasu doesn't necessarily oppose him, and the more he gets to know Goku, the more he starts to grow to like him. Seeing that mortals can actually be truly amazing. Of course, this doesn't happen quickly. It's going to happen over a long period of time. Goku is able to change people pretty easily, and he kind of has to do the same with Zamasu here, which is a much tougher task. But as they spend time together, Zamasu learns a lot more about mortals. And he also gets to see a bit of Goku's training. Apparently Goku's trying to access something that Whis is teaching him, a mastery over automatic movements in the body. Now, Goku isn't too sure of what it is, and Whis isn't giving him a direct answer for it, obviously. But Zamasu feels like he knows about this. He's heard about this before. It's Ultra Instinct, isn't it? Since he's still not fully sold on mortals, he doesn't give Goku the answer right away. Plus, even if he did fully like mortals at this point, giving Goku the answer flat out removes the fun. He does want to see if Goku's able to achieve something like this. It would probably take hundreds or thousands of years though. Only the angels have ever been able to pull that off. There's no way a mortal or anyone else could even do that. But something about Goku's different. It does stick in his mind. So obviously we skipped a few arcs. There's no Universe 6 tournament, there's obviously no Goku Black Arc because Zamasu here is good, and there's no Time Traveler. And on top of that, there's not going to be a Tournament of Power. Without the Universe 6 tournament, Zeno never gets the idea for another one, although he still does have the idea in mind that he might want to erase some of the universes. And just to see if there's any reason to keep them around, he visits them. Some have been improving, but mostly, they're still disappointing. But at one point he does go to Beerus' planet, meeting up with the God of Destruction and Angel there, also seeing someone else there. He's intrigued to see a mortal here, especially one that's apparently working to be a Kai now. Well, he actually corrects Zeno. He's just Guardian of Earth with some really good connections. And while he was extremely formal with Zamasu, he's pretty casual with Zeno until he realizes who he actually is. But by the time he realizes who Zeno is, it's already too late. He just acts like his normal self in front of Zeno, which is a good thing. Zeno actually likes this guy. This mortal interests him. Maybe there's something that can be done about the universes. Maybe there's interesting people within them and Zeno just needs to look harder, because like this guy over here, he seems pretty fun. Obviously no one knows that he's going to erase the universes, but in Zeno's mind he thinks maybe he should keep them around a little longer. Maybe they can do something impressive. And with how big all the universes are, there's no way this is just exclusive to Universe 7. There has to be interesting people in other universes too. If only there was some way to get them all together and fight just to see how strong they are, and give them some sort of test of their powers too, as well as their will. But he can't really think of anything. Oh well, he goes back to his palace, leaving happy now that he met Goku. Despite this story being about Goku, we have focused a lot on him, so let's go back to Earth to cover what's going on there. At some point throughout all of this, Beerus does eventually visit Earth again while Goku's gone. He needs something to occupy himself, and there's a lot of good food here, so he might as well. And this gives Vegeta the perfect opportunity. He's been training for as long as he can. Piccolo and Gohan have helped him, but really no one knows what they're working towards. But together, he and Gohan have unlocked something amazing. Now Gohan's not present at the moment because he doesn't really have a desire to go to Beerus' planet, but he likes the fact that he has grown stronger here. But due to him having his own dormant godly ki, after some intense training with Vegeta and Piccolo, he unlocked a brand new form for himself, and Vegeta unlocked it not too long after, picking up on the godly ki for himself too. And he has the perfect chance to show it off against Beerus here. He immediately meets Beerus and Whis and just transforms right in front of them, showing off a brand new godly form, one that no one's ever seen before. It's the true Super Saiyan God form, and Beerus can tell by the aura, it's definitely something divine. He wonders what this form actually is. Maybe this is the Super Saiyan God form that Goku was supposed to get, but because of his unique origins and such, he ended up skipping it completely and getting something different. Of course, the form that Vegeta's using is also weaker than what Goku currently has, and Vegeta's been surpassed long ago, but this does kind of interest Beerus. And you know, Goku's not always on his planet training. He hops between the Sacred World of Kais, both in Universe 7 and Universe 10, he goes to the Lookout on Earth, and sometimes he is on Beerus' planet, but it's not all the time. So maybe Beerus can have a new rival here. Little does he know, Gohan has the same form too, and he's actually above Vegeta right now. But this is Vegeta's chance to finally get ahead. He's going to go to Beerus' planet and train there, going beyond this form and getting stronger than even Kakarot is. After so long, his hard work finally paid off. Long ago he believed as an elite Saiyan, he just couldn't be surpassed, but Kakarot proved him wrong. Although now that he's putting more hard work in for himself, he's done it. He was the first Super Saiyan, and technically, he's the first to use the real Super Saiyan God form. And he's going to be the first to go beyond it too. Not realizing Goku's already gone beyond it, pretty much twice. But Beerus does see some potential within Vegeta, so he comes along to Beerus' planet. And Vegeta wonders where he should go next from here. He doesn't really have an idea, he just knows that he has to go beyond this form somehow. But eventually he'll cross paths with Kakarot again. He does catch him here on Earth from time to time, but now on Beerus' planet, it's going to be a lot easier to see him. And at some point they do get to fight together, with Goku impressed at how much he's grown. Also surprised to learn that Gohan apparently has the same form. He's really missed out on some things on Earth. Yeah, he's been keeping a watch over the planet like he should as Guardian, but he hasn't been focused on the little things. He's mainly been focused on keeping any threats away from Earth, and thankfully Earth has been peaceful. But he's missed out on all the good stuff too. Of course, he still is above Vegeta, but Vegeta has grown considerably, and he commends Vegeta for it, hoping that he actually does find a way to surpass that form. Because it looks like the two of them essentially have completely different paths now. They're similar, but different because of their unique circumstances. And Vegeta also meets Majin Buu, who's in a pretty weird position right now. Surprisingly, he's kind of acting like a Kai here. Shin and Kibito have worked on trying to separate the other Kais out of him, but they can't. Although, there are times where Buu turns into the Grand Supreme Kai for some reason. They don't know the workings behind it, but they know that the Grand Supreme Kai is in there, and somehow he's manifesting himself through Buu. He does train with Goku from time to time, but now he's more so a Kai than anything. Goku purifying him was an amazing thing. Well, for the most part at least. There is one kind of bad thing that comes out of it. In Buu, or rather the Grand Supreme Kai, he's able to take notice. And the Grand Supreme Kai was pretty worried about this when he came back. Despite Buu being alive, when he was purified, that did break the seal a bit for Moro. Now, it was still partially intact, but it started something that Moro could easily finish, and he was able to break the rest of the seal himself. With it being unstable, that means Moro is able to break free from the Galactic Patrol prison. And immediately when this happens, Buu is able to sense it, warning the other Kais of it and telling them to get Goku here. Of course, the Galactic Patrol is scrambling to figure out what to do for themselves, but little do they know, the gods of this universe are working on something. The rest of the patrol wonders why Maris is so content about this, but he thinks this will be all okay. Obviously, he can't tell them why, but he knows that the Kais are on top of this, including one particular mortal that he knows. Thanks to his brother Whis telling him, Goku gets a few allies with him, Buu, Zamasu, and Vegeta. Vegeta's there as some extra muscle. By the time this all happens, he actually has surpassed Super Saiyan God, getting a form that kinda looks like Goku's Rosé form, but it's completely blue instead. So he'll be nice as an extra bit of strength. Buu's there because the Grand Supreme Kai actually knows about Moro, and he's able to manifest himself through Buu more and more, with Buu also being able to help. Alongside that, Buu, Zamasu, and of course Goku all have access to magic that can be used to counter Moro. They're not going unprepared. Even though this isn't Zamasu's universe, he's coming along because he was with Goku not too long ago, and wants to see what kind of threat he's facing. Apparently it's some old magical threat from the past, one that is related to the Kais. And considering it's an enemy of the gods, Zamasu wants to see that enemy defeated. It could be a good learning experience too. Goku teleports them all to Namek. They know of Moro's magic because of Buu telling them, so they know he's going to be able to absorb energy, but Vegeta's the first one to step up and fight. He paces himself, eventually working his way up to Super Saiyan Blue, and Moro is not able to fight him at all, which is surprising because Moro is trying to steal his energy but he can't get anything. He doesn't know, but watching nearby there's Buu and Zamasu, concealing their presence. The only other person that he actually sees is Goku. But the second Moro started using his magic, someone started interfering, and he doesn't know who. But it's those three. Vegeta's about to get the kill on Moro, but Moro is able to make an escape, barely getting away. He doesn't know how they knew he'd get to Namek in the first place. It's like they knew he was going to come here and met him here beforehand. Moro tries to get in contact with Cranberry too, but he seems to be dead. And someone else picks up his communication device, telling Moro he's already lost. It's Zamasu on the other end. Having prevented Cranberry from getting the Dragon Balls, Goku then teleports around to pick everybody up, teleporting in front of Moro and stopping him in his tracks. He doesn't seem to know who he's up against, does he? Vegeta asks Goku if he'd like to take this, but no, it was Vegeta's fight. He'll let him finish it. Good. Vegeta was hoping he'd be able to test out this form. He powers up to his full strength, and with the others helping by preventing Moro from using magic, Vegeta's able to kill Moro completely. With Zamasu kinda happy to watch on too. Despite there being some bad mortals out there, and despite him not really liking Vegeta using a divine form, he's content with this, seeing the good mortals team up with the gods to win. More and more, he's getting to see that he's wrong about the mortals. His view on them is completely changing, especially thanks to Goku. He truly is a divine figure. At Zeno's palace, he's watching all the battles go on in this universe, and he's enjoying what he sees. Although, he really wants to see more of Goku, and wonders if he'll ever have an all-out battle. It's kind of been a while since he has had one. And every day he's growing stronger. Beerus hasn't fought him in a while either, but it's pretty clear to see. Goku may even be above him already. In the rare instances where he does show off his Crimson Kai form, it's easy to tell. It's been continuously improving and it's not going to stop anytime soon. But a real challenge for Goku is about to appear. This entire time on Earth, there has been one threat that's been dormant, one that Goku was never able to pick up on because it never posed a threat. Well, actually there's two in development. Red Pharmaceuticals is trying to work on a plan to stop Goku. Of course, they don't have the idea for Cell Max in mind because they don't know about Cell. They want to build some more androids, but they have no idea of what to do. They're able to break Dr. Hedo out of prison, but he doesn't really want to work for them. For the time being, he has no real directives, but he does begin his own research. But this isn't the main threat that they're about to face. There's an intruder at the Red Pharmaceuticals base at one point, and it's no human fighter, but it's not alien either. It's something else completely different. Nobody knows who or what this thing is. He's trying his best to keep his power low because he has a lot of power now, also a lot of unique abilities, but he's not at his full strength yet. He makes his way through Red Pharmaceuticals looking for one person, Dr. Hedo, the person who could make him perfect. His name is Cell, a creation by one of Hedo's relatives, Dr. Gero. Now, unfortunately for Cell, he can't achieve perfection. As far as he knows, androids 17 and 18 are dead. Obviously, they have been revived, but he doesn't know that. His drones didn't see Goku use Shenron to revive them. But it's alright. He has someone here who can make him perfect. He just needs Dr. Hedo to make the parts for him. Or any scientist here for that matter. Now, of course, they're not going to give him that easily, especially with who this guy seems to be. a completely rogue bioandroid created by Dr. Gero. But Magenta and Carmine kinda like this. You know, they needed a good android to work against Goku. And it seems Cell has the same directives. Of course, they don't know if they could actually trust him. But if they don't help Cell, he's gonna kill them anyways. They might as well work together against the same enemy, shouldn't they? And Cell's starting to like these two. Although Hedo, he's still not really up for it, and he's the only one who can do this. But Magenta reminds him, they're paying Hedo to do this. He's gotta listen to them. And Cell warns Hedo too. Be sure to not do anything stupid. For example, giving him parts that are able to shut him down or self-destruct or something, because that won't work on him. He can't shut down because he's not mechanical, and if he does put some sort of self-destruct device in there, it doesn't matter. He'll regenerate. Hedo would have to build a bomb capable of destroying the entire galaxy. No, one capable of almost destroying the universe maybe. And that's just for Cell's current power. Imagine how strong he'll be when he's truly perfect. And if they don't listen to him, he could simply just blow up Earth right here and now. Of course, that wouldn't be as fun, and it's kind of an empty threat from him. But would they rather see their planet get destroyed immediately, or would they rather help Cell out and let him have some fun here? So reluctantly, Hedo does have to help him, with Cell continuing to remain low-key, eventually able to finally achieve his goal, perfection, undergoing a staggering transformation. In case you couldn't tell, this is the present version of Cell, not a time traveler or anything like that. Dr. Gero's lab was never found beforehand, so even though the androids were stopped, Cell wasn't. He was still developing this entire time, and his drones kept collecting data. Now initially at some point they did stop, but the computer continued to monitor everything and thought maybe there's some interesting things Cell could pick up on. Of course, the drones had to remain cautious. If they were noticed, the entire thing would be done. So they don't really have data on stuff like Beerus and Whis, because they knew if they got too close to Beerus and Whis, they'd probably be spotted. But they've gotten a lot of other data besides that, as well as some extra DNA for Cell. So even though this perfect Cell looks like the one that we all know, he's completely different. He's not even from the same timeline, nor does he have the same backstory. But now that he's perfect, he has no use for the Red Ribbon Army, or Red Pharmaceuticals, whatever they're going by now. With a flick of his finger, he completely destroys the base, leveling it and killing everybody in there. Well, almost everybody. Thanks to hardening his skin, one person was able to barely survive, Dr. Hedo. He actually saw this coming, and you know, as much as he dislikes Gero, the idea of having a secret underground lab was a pretty nice one, so this entire time he had his own one built. Even with the Red Ribbon Army base destroyed, he still has a ton of resources. It's up to him to stop Cell. Or so he thinks. As he goes to his own secret underground lab, starting to build the androids that he actually wanted to build. The Gammas. Left bewildered by Cell's attack, Hedo has no clue what to do next. Sure, at the very least he's going to make the Gammas, but the thing is he doesn't know how to do it. At least in the terms of what course of action is best. If he had enough time, he could make them a lot stronger, but first of all, he's kind of on a time limit. He doesn't know when Cell's going to attack or what he's going to do. And second of all, they don't know Cell's true strength at all. Sure, Hedo does have some data on him, but after he became perfect, all of that data became irrelevant. But even if he did have an accurate measurement for his strength, he's built the Gammas, but he's short on time. He starts getting them ready as quickly as possible. As for Cell himself, he also wonders what his next course of action is. He tries to look around and see if Goku's here, but he can't sense him anywhere. So there's a few things that are weird for Cell. For one, he doesn't have Goku's current DNA or data. Whenever Goku's on Earth, he's rarely on the surface, and Cell's drones never know when to actually go up to the lookout to find him, and that's even if they did go up to the lookout. To be very safe, the computer didn't send any of the drones up there, because first of all, it's kind of hard to track in general. The lookout itself moves, and people could just teleport up there, so there's not really an easy way to follow them. But on top of that, the drones knew they'd be easy to notice if they went up there. And the computer didn't actually realize that Goku has to approve of anything going onto the lookout in the first place, so he'd probably be able to detect them somehow, despite being mechanical. So that explains why he doesn't have Goku's current DNA or data, but that doesn't mean he doesn't have updated data. He does have some pretty good data on Goku, from the rare times he's on the surface. Plus, of course, all the updated data of everyone else. At some point a while ago, the drones did stop collecting data, but it started getting more when they realized how strong Goku was getting, as well as the people around him. So as a result, Cell is pretty improved, and he has to get everyone's attention somehow. So he does the best thing possible. He goes right to the lookout. Now there's no need to be covert, and it would be the best way to find Goku, which is going to be pretty easy for him since he could teleport. He arrives on the lookout, immediately being noticed by those up there. Right now it's just Chi-Chi, Goten, and Piccolo, as well as Mr. Popo, of course. Well, looks like Goku's not here, but he wants to draw him out somehow, and he asks them where he could find Goku. Of course, they're completely dumbfounded for a few reasons, because who is this guy, how did he get up here, and why does his ki feel like that? It looks like they didn't understand, so he'll ask again. He lifts up a hand this time and charges a blast. Not aiming at them, but the lookout itself. Where is Goku? Immediately Chi-Chi and Goten vanish, and Cell senses a huge increase in power. They're teleporting around the lookout rapidly so Cell can't track them, but he is able to keep up with what they're doing. Chi-Chi's using Evolved Kaioken right now, having practiced with this herself a while ago. And as for Goten, he looks to be in Super Saiyan but has much longer hair. He's then hit by a powerful Kamehameha from the front, one from Chi-Chi, with one coming from behind two from Goten. And then from his right, Piccolo's there launching a Masenko. All the attacks hit together, and Cell is impressed at all their power, but he's also completely unfazed by these attacks. Well, it doesn't seem like Goku's here at the moment, but at least this might be able to draw him out. They don't even need to question who he is, because Chi-Chi has a similar power to Goku's where she can look into people's minds. And the second Cell came up here, that's exactly what she did. She knows who he is and what his objective is. They know he's a threat, and they know they need to stop him. Cell's about to launch a counterattack, but someone then rockets through the lookout from below, tackling into him. And Chi-Chi yells at him to be more careful. Don't destroy the lookout like that. And Piccolo says the same thing. It's Vegeta that came to attack. And also flying up through the hole that he made is Gohan. Of course, Vegeta lives on the surface, but Gohan started to live on the surface too, trying to live a more normal human life. Vegeta, of course, just flew up here on his own. And right after Gohan sensed all this, he just teleported to where Vegeta was. So, Cell tries to ask them the same question. Do they know where Goku is? Because he really does want to fight him. And Vegeta says that doesn't really matter. Goku currently isn't on this planet, which means that Cell must not be interesting enough for Goku, because he's constantly watching over. Of course, these are just fighting words from Vegeta, but there is some truth into them, because Vegeta thinks that he alone can beat Cell, and with Gohan's help it'll be even easier. They don't know the full extent of Cell's power just yet. This does interest Cell though, because he knows these two are probably the strongest on Earth right now, so in the meantime he will fight them. It's going to be much more fun to do it this way than going right to the strongest. But he tells Vegeta to choose his words carefully. He really doesn't know what type of opponent he's facing. And Goten warns them of the same thing, with them looking down at him to notice that he's in Super Saiyan 3 right now. Before those two arrived, Goten was the strongest person here, and seeing him worn out, using his full power, and not having done any sort of damage to Cell, that kinda tells them what they need to know. As Cell begins to show more power, he says that maybe if he were in his imperfect form, all 5 of them could beat him together. But even then, there's not really a high chance of that. And this is based off his previous data, with Vegeta and Gohan then showing their full strength too. Vegeta goes blue, and then he asks if Gohan's ascended to Super Saiyan God yet, but Gohan says it's fine. It seems like they just need to buy some time right now, and despite him being in a lower form, he's pretty much on par with Vegeta in terms of power. And not because Vegeta's weak by any means, it's just that Gohan's strong. He's mastered Super Saiyan, but Vegeta's a true master of the form if anything, being the first one to unlock it and all the secrets behind it, and he'll show Cell the fruits of all that training. Gohan and Vegeta fight together against Cell briefly, and then Cell just decides to leave the fight. He tells them this is pretty fun, but they should do it in a better setting, especially with Goku here. Why don't they do a tournament of sorts? They should all have fun with that, shouldn't they? Maybe he was too hasty coming up here, especially without Goku being here at the moment. He says they'll all get the chance to fight soon, they're just going to need to wait a bit, because Cell has a much more fun idea of how to do this. And he tells them to watch the news later. He teleports back down to the surface and Vegeta says they should go chase him. Chi-Chi could just teleport right to him, can't she? But she says that's a bad idea. First of all, he's around people. If they try to fight him there, he's going to be destroying cities. And that's not from them fighting, that's just from him powering up. He's going to have no regard for the environment around them. Plus, even if they did go down there, she knows that they can't all match him, especially if what he said is true. Vegeta thinks it's ridiculous. There's no way he could be that powerful. Sure, Cell held his own against Vegeta and Gohan together, but there's no way he's that powerful. Chi-Chi says it's true though, explaining more to everyone of what he really is, as well as his abilities and such. And they wonder when Goku's going to show up. He's definitely watching and waiting for the right time to join in. The thing is, what Vegeta said is kinda true. This is partially just due to how Goku is in general, and kinda what he saw from Kami as well before he became Kami. First of all, Goku wants to approximate if Cell is really a threat to everybody around them. He wants to give everyone else a chance to fight him and show their strength. He knows they worked hard for their power and want to use it. So this is partially him letting them have their fun, and also not being there to bail them out in every sort of circumstance. But that doesn't mean Goku doesn't take it seriously. From where he's watching, he can see that Cell is kinda like him in a way. He just wants a good fight. And he's not going to threaten anyone until he gets that fight. The Cell games arrive a few days later, and there's some interesting people there. Obviously Gohan, Goten, Chi-Chi, Vegeta, and Piccolo all joined. But there's 2 mysterious fighters that show up, people that no one recognizes, not even Cell. At least not at first. They also clearly don't look human and they don't have ki, and they offer to fight first as well. But then everyone notices the logo that they're wearing. Well, at the very least, Cell, Chi-Chi, and Piccolo recognize it. Piccolo remembers seeing that when he was Kami before, and Chi-Chi's heard about it from Goku. The logo of the Red Ribbon Army. And Cell could tell what's going on here. These are 2 more androids made to fight him. They must have been made by Dr. Hedo, which means he survived somehow. That's surprising, and this actually might be an interesting fight. Of course, Hedo tried everything in his power to try and shut Cell down somehow, but there was nothing he could do, especially with what Cell told Hedo beforehand. So the best option was to make androids to fight Cell directly. Gamma 1 goes up first. Had Hedo had more resources and time, he could have made more Gammas, stronger Gammas. But this is the best he could do, and they're actually surprisingly powerful. Of course, Cell can't sense any of their power, so he doesn't get a full gauge of their strength, but fighting Gamma 1 gives him a good idea how strong these androids are. It seems like Hedo made androids stronger than anybody else on Earth, at least individually. If he was imperfect against these 2 androids, he'd have no shot at winning. But he's 2 forms beyond that. He ends up defeating Gamma 1, and Gamma 2's up next, who pretty much has the same strength as Gamma 1, so he's defeated just as easily. And then Gamma 2 asks Gamma 1, Why are they even following the tournament rules? Why don't they just attack him together? But Gamma 1 says not to be foolish. That's probably just going to anger him and cause him to just destroy everyone on the spot. And Cell can overhear them and says, yeah, he's kind of right. But at the same time, now that he thinks about it, the tournament style's kind of boring, especially because he knows he's going to easily beat everybody here. He did want to give them a fair chance, but you know what? How about all of them attack him at once? It could still be tournament style. He'll just keep beating them until someone beats him. So, despite all the theatrics from before, just like the normal Cell did in the original story, he just destroys the arena. This will be far more entertaining. And together, everyone comes at him, even with the Gammas fighting alongside them. And now Cell's starting to have fun, showcasing a little bit more of his strength and his abilities. But he's still not at full power and he's not being pressured at all. And Hedo was watching remotely through the Gammas. It's just as he expected. The Gammas were rushed, and they don't know Cell's true strength, so he couldn't really make them as strong as he wanted to, especially with the lack of resources. But as he's watching, he notices two people teleport in. Goku and Majin Buu arrive. And they all ask where Goku's been, but honestly, he said he thought they could handle it. And it's not because of him being reckless, it's because he truly believed that everyone could handle it. But now that he sees Cell's full power, or at least a portion of it, he decided to intervene now. He's been waiting and watching, and he was ready to teleport in the moment he knew it would be dangerous. Actually, he could have waited a little bit longer, but he wanted to be on the safe side. Buu goes around and heals everyone as Goku talks with Cell. And Cell's glad to finally see him here. And with no waiting, Goku immediately turns into his Crimson Kai form. Although he asks Cell, is this going to be enough to fight him? As far as Cell knows, this is his strongest state. And it should be a fun challenge, but Goku and Cell both know this isn't going to be enough, surprisingly. The two of them start dueling. It's so fast that no one else can even track it. And Goku's getting pretty excited from this too. He's fighting someone for once that is actually pushing him. And of course he's fought Beerus before too. But that was different. Despite the serious nature of that fight, he knew that there wasn't any real stakes with that. He knew he wasn't going to die. But here, there's real stakes. Although, Goku is holding back a little bit. And Cell could sense it too. Goku's hiding something, isn't he? It's true. Cell's the strongest opponent Goku's fought, which includes Beerus. But even despite that, Goku's still holding back for some reason. And he says yeah, he is hiding something. He reaches into his pocket and pulls out 2 earrings. He says he'll need someone's help with this. And he turns to Gohan and Vegeta, who wants to fight Cell with him. They don't have a clue of what he's talking about, but Vegeta immediately volunteers. With Goku then explaining what he means, throwing a Potara earring to Vegeta. Wait, they're fusing? Like Piccolo and Kami did? Well, this is going to be temporary, so don't worry. But it's going to create a really strong fused fighter, and it's going to give Vegeta an opportunity to fight even more. Vegeta shouldn't have volunteered for this, but whatever. He goes for it. He wonders if Gohan would have been better to fuse with, but both Gohan and Vegeta are pretty much on equal footing, and both should be somewhat around the same level of compatibility with Goku. He even considered fusing with Buu, but he doesn't know the compatibility of that. If Cell wants a fun battle, they'll give him that. So Goku and Vegeta fuse, using the Potara for the first time. And a brand new fighter is born, naming himself Vegeta. You see, Goku's actually learned about the Potara from the other Kais. He knows this fusion won't be permanent for them, and they should probably be careful with the power because if they use too much, the fusion might expire right away. So Vegeta starts powering up, and he makes a weird surprised face, like he just now realized the extent of his power. But that face quickly becomes a look of determination, as Vegeta showcases his own power beyond Crimson Kai. And it takes on an odd appearance. It's a mix of Goku's Crimson Kai and Vegeta's blue. Given the fusion's hair a light purple color, Vegeta wants to give this form a unique name for himself, and since it's his version of Crimson Kai essentially, he'll call this Violet Vegito. The alliteration's pretty nice. Vegito and Cell then vanish, teleporting to the world of Kai, just so they could fight all out and not worry about the people around them. But back on Earth, Gamma 1 and 2 say they need to deliver a message to Goku. Chi-Chi says she could deliver it. Vegito then hears a voice in his head and it's coming from Earth. It's from the Gammas who got this message from Hedo. And Hedo says no matter what, they need to make sure they destroy Cell completely. Every little bit of him needs to go or else he'll regenerate. And Vegito says that won't be a problem. Vegito knows to maintain his power here so he doesn't run out of the fusion. He's in a safe spot that won't damage anyone or any of the surroundings around him. All of the other Kais are on the other side of the planet, watching on kinda terrified through a crystal ball. And Cell thanks them both for this. This will be a truly amazing battle. And he thanks Goku specifically for coming up with this. Cell showcases his full power and he doesn't transform, but he does use Evolved Kaioken. The two clash, darting around the planet while they do so. And the first thing Cell notices is Vegito's speed. Not just the speed of his attacks and how he moves, but he could dodge and counter a lot of Cell's attacks really easily too. Plus, he has all the abilities and magic of Goku. Vegito sticks both his hands out to the side, spawning dozens of blocks of Kachi on each side of him, flinging them all at Cell. Cell weaves through them, dodging some of them and destroying some others. But this is a distraction for Vegito. He hops through all the blocks of Kachi, jumping off each one onto another. And as he hops around rapidly, he throws Ki Blast around them. Cell then charges a bunch of Ki, unleashing it as it explodes around him, vaporizing all the blocks of Kachi, but left behind is all of Vegito's blast, surrounding Cell like a Hellzone grenade. Although, they don't all come towards him like a blast of Ki. Vegito sticks a hand out at Cell, piercing a sword right through him. And all those Ki blasts he made do the same, with each one turning into a spear of Ki, and Cell gets pierced by them from every angle. Vegito would love to test out Cell's power even more, but he can't. He has a responsibility to defeat Cell here. Sure, Goku has tried to purify enemies before too, but he can't take that risk here. Not only is Cell the strongest villain they've ever seen, but as far as Goku knows, he's probably like the other androids, completely hardwired to be like this. And because of his extreme power, Shenron can't even reverse that. For all Vegito knows, he might be capable of change, but Goku and by extension the Fused Fighter can't take that risk. With one hand, Vegito paralyzes Cell, and in the other he charges a one-handed Kamehameha, but it takes on a purple hue instead of a blue one. The encounter was short, but Vegito thanks Cell for it. He probably shouldn't be using a technique like this, but hey, they gotta do whatever they can. Vegito launches a one-handed Kamehameha, imbued with destructive energy, and Vegito uses all his power for this. The power of the attack destroys Cell, and the destructive energy erases him, ensuring he won't regenerate either. And with all of his power put into this blast, Vegito then immediately defuses. Once again, Earth is defended, as well as the entire universe. But Vegito tells Goku he knows what he was hiding. He'll keep his secret from the others because apparently Goku wanted to keep this under wraps. But he has a form beyond Crimson Kai, doesn't he? That's why Vegito was so surprised at first, because the Vegeta side of him didn't realize that he had that power. And Goku says Vegeta's right. He almost did use it against Cell, and they could have used it as Vegito, but it might have drained the fusion too quickly, and it might have drained Goku too quickly if he used it beforehand. But he'll give Vegeta a demonstration of it. By now he's long surpassed the gods of destruction, and not just through Crimson Kai. For a brief moment, Goku shows off Ultra Instinct, a truly amazing form that Vegeta can't even comprehend, only knowing about it through Vegito. But Goku immediately powers down, being kinda worn out from fighting Cell. Soon enough he'll be using it with perfect efficiency. But for now, he'll keep working on it, and he hopes Vegeta keeps working on his power too. He's proud of how strong everyone on Earth has grown, even without him around at most times. But he knows they could all go even further, especially now because they might have two new allies alongside them, the two Gammas. Plus, they all gotta formally meet Buu and hang out with him a little bit too. He's been a really great training partner for Goku, and Goku wonders if they'll ever encounter an enemy like Cell again. But if they do, Goku's ready for that day, and he knows Earth will be as well. He hopes he's making Kami proud and doing the position well. This is where we end off our series. What do you guys think about this story? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to see what you guys think. As usual, be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really does help out the channel and shows me you want to see more like this. Anyways, thank you all for watching, thanks for supporting the series all the way through, and I'll see you all in my next video.